The Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill was a Star General's legendary technique. Although it was not generally accepted to be stronger than a Heaven rank, sometimes, it was more advantageous than a Heaven rank. This was not the first time Wu Xinjie and the girls had seen a Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill. At least, their young lord already had Wu Xiao and Hun Yangzi comprehend their Heaven Earth Dark Yellows. The former's was, do not laugh laying drunk on battlefield, and the latter's was, when golden wind embraces jade dew. Either one of these was fit to enter the annals of Liangshan continent. And in fact, although Heaven Earth Dark Yellows were well renowned, there was an obvious pitfall. This was that after a Star General used their Heaven Earth Dark Yellow, the Star General herself would enter a state of extreme weakness, unable to use any techniques. It could be said that using a Heaven Earth Dark Yellow demonstrated that a Star General had reached the end of her rope. Thus, a Heaven Earth Dark Yellow was very rarely used, and only as a last resort. Old Pig using, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace so quickly was because Wu Xinjie had left him with no choice. However, Old Pig had absolute confidence that victory was his. This unprecedented Heaven Earth Dark Yellow was the result of himself, Nine-Tailed Turtle Tao Fenghua and Iron Whistle Yu Qingshang all working together. Its attack and defense were invincible, completely without weakness. It was enough to sweep away all enemies. Yu Qingshang played her flute atop Tao Fenghua's Fenghuang Terrace. Her fairy gown and clothes fluttered, the tassels dancing. Her serene song poured out from the Shao. It immediately became rainbow specks of light that sprinkled down the Fenghuang Terrace. Thereupon, phoenixes upon the Feng Shield Huang armor on the Fenghuang Terrace awakened, soaring into the heavens, rocketing upwards. Magnificent flames immediately spread across the world and burned the White Horse Highlands. The summoned supervoid-level holy birds frightened all of the cultivators out of their minds. They tumbled over each other as they fled, but this Fenghuang Terrace's song was not limited to this. First, then a second, then a third, holy birds emerged one after another, blotting out the sun with their appearance onto the White Horse Highlands. Even Wu Xinjie felt overwhelmed. All of the cultivators had taken flight. But the might of the supervoid phoenixes allowed them nowhere to run. Several of the phoenixes surrounded the Fenghuang Terrace. Along with the flute melody, they sang, sweeping over the White Horse Highlands. Other than top-notch supervoid cultivators like Emperor Liang, the other cultivators were burned to ash by the phoenix's flames hardly an instant after it shone upon them. Seeing this situation, Emperor Liang's expression finally became very unsightly. No wonder this old pig had such an arrogant tone. He unexpectedly had a technique so defiant of natural order. Countless flying swords and magic weapons plunged towards Old Pig, but the Fenghuang Terrace dissolved all of the attacks in succession. Old's eyes were full of a sinister glint. He indifferently listened to the screams around him. But not everyone was fleeing. Ying Mei. All of the girls cried out in shock. They watched as Lin Yingmei dove straight for the Fenghuang Terrace, a chunk of ice and frost sprinkling down upon the world. She appeared quite inharmonious with those heaven-concealing flames. The panther head, Old Pig did not kill that era's Lin Chong. We shall not be modest with this generation's. Old Pig coldly eyed Lin Yingmei rushing through the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill, his eyes full of disdain. Even if the majestic star was one of the 5 tiger generals, with superb martial force, for one person alone to break through their Heaven Earth Dark Yellow skill was a complete fantasy. Yu Qingshang blew into her Xian Nu Shao. The flute's song resounded, the melody drifting. Under the guidance of the Shao, the summoned phoenixes charged towards Lin Yingmei. Little sisters, we must go help Yingmei. Wu Xinjie said in a low voice when she saw this scene. For so many supervoid cultivation-level phoenix holy birds to fight Lin Yingmei alone, even the 5-star destined weapon in her hand absolutely could not last for too long. But Lin Yingmei was very clear that if she ran now, it would mean that their plans to confront the Overlord would have all been for nothing. After the Heaven Earth Dark Yellow, Old Pig's group could not possibly sit and wait for death. If they fled then, the next time would truly be trouble. Old Pig's Heaven Earth Dark Yellow signified that the 4th Overlord was already at wit's end. At the same time, it also signified that Lin Yingmei and the others must put their all into this fight. Without even needing her to say it, the other girls had already mobilized. Clang, clang. A flaming phoenix battled Lin Yingmei. The supervoid holy beast could not bring too much of a threat to Lin Yingmei. The 5-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear even held the advantage, but Tao Fenghua and Yu Qingshang's Heaven Earth Dark Yellow, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace, was not just one, it was a flock. Majestic Star Panther Head is honestly so impulsive. Tao Fenghua giggled. Yu Qingshang played gracefully. The phoenixes cried, spreading their flames. Lin Yingmei was surrounded by fire. Disregarding everything, she did her utmost to struggle free. Yingmei, I shall assist you. Skillful star Yan Yizhen appeared in front of Lin Yingmei, her fists beating down the phoenix, swallowfalsh samsara, pounding the phoenix like a torrential downpour. Little E, Lin Yingmei was somewhat surprised. With the skillful star's current strength, there was no advantage at all to be spoken of fighting a phoenix alone. Yan Yizhen's slim vermilion pupils were as calm as a dry well, as if she completely anticipated this danger. In her eyes was only the holy beast. Despite the pain racking her body, she did not shrink back at all from entangling the phoenix. Lin Yingmei understood tacitly and nodded. The majestic star abruptly shouted and circled around the phoenix, straddling crying frost and flying up. If you want to die, then Old Pig shall oblige you all. Old Pig sneered. Yu Qingshang changed her tune. At the same time the phoenixes were finished destroying the White Horse Highlands, they changed direction to encircle and attack Lin Yingmei. Another watery figure daintily interceded, rushing to block the phoenix attack in front of Lin Yingmei. The girl wielded twin sabers, golden light and green wind reflecting one another, incomparably beautiful. Elder sister, allow us to do a little something for dear husband. Bright star Hunyangzi's expression showed boundless love. A dark rank, this passion faces wind, this hatred leaves moon, easily obstructed the phoenixes. Little sister, be careful. Lin Yingmei's speed did not slow at all. Who are you kidding? Qingshang and my reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace had once forced a dozen sisters back into the star nest, making them flee with their tails between their legs, and you believe you can break through? Tao Fenghua shouted. The third phoenix, fourth phoenix, fifth, sixth, all of the holy beasts pounced towards Lin Yingmei at the same time. This overwhelming battle formation was unprecedented, and even Emperor Liang felt stifled. But what made the great Liang dynasty even more overwhelmed was the next scene. Wu Xinjie, Shi Yuan, Tang Lianxin, Zhang Yuqi and all the other star maidens charged forth, not to be outdone. To contend directly against a phoenix with their own strength was practically like a moth flying into a flame, but each and every one of the girls was spry and lively, not one single bit afraid. On the contrary, they were full of a fighting spirit that made even Emperor Liang stare in wonder. Elder sister, do not hold back teaching them a lesson. Shi Yuan flipped, seizing one of the holy beasts with her hoodwinking flying claws. I will be a shield. The most reclusive of the sisters, solitary star Tang Lianxin, was full of fearless courage and intensity. Don't think that your blowjob is anything special. We can do that, too. Zhang Yuqi evilly laughed. The ring on her finger burst with light, and a giant river poured down from the clouds in the sky. As if it descended from the heavens, as if was a divine warrior, it ruthlessly stabbed into a phoenix. Earth rank technique heavenly sword. Your servant also wishes to do something for Sir. Shi Yu and boatman Zhang Feiyu were not to be outdone. The latter used every one of her powers and techniques to intercept a phoenix. Hiss dash, a phoenix flapped its wings, and countless fire arrows rained down. The chains in the air turned and captured all of the flames like a large net. Go, Yingmei, carefully make this old pig watch young lord's #1 wife. Knowledge star Wu Xinjie appeared in midair, her 8 gates black gold chain unfurling at the same time, its profound array passing through space. Lin Yingmei nodded, moving forward without a second thought. Sister after sister stood before Lin Yingmei, getting rid of the obstacles for her. Without any obstructions, without any hesitation, Lin Yingmei's resolve and killing intent were higher than the heavens, deeper than the seas. Old Pig and Tao Fenghua were stupefied by the scene before them. As if sensing Lin Yingmei's surging killing intent, Yu Qingshang's Xian Nu Shao melody became somewhat rushed. Reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace was played at maximum power. Sister Yingmei, charge straight ahead. Shi Yuan could last no longer and was chewed to bit by a phoenix. Fortunately, she had ingested soul-pulling dream winding beforehand. Even if Su Xing was 1,000 li away, she could instantly return to the star nest. Then, Tang Lianxin also fell into the star nest. Zhang Yuqi and Yan Yizhen followed soon after, falling into the star nest from a phoenix encirclement. Nyangzi, go, quickly. Wu Xinjie had the formidable 8 gates black gold chains. The phoenixes were hard-pressed to injure her in the slightest, but the Hu Nyangzi who was in a direct confrontation against the phoenixes was already unable to continue. Wu Xinjie was worried. However, at this moment, a Yazi saber cut down a phoenix, resolving Hu Nyangzi's crisis. The one who acted was shockingly Song Qingxi. The sisters fell one after another into the star nest. Endless cold was already in Lin Yingmei's eyes, and her heart was full of a baleful aura frozen in her chest and transmitted to her weapon. Die, 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 Tao Fenghua shouted. The last few phoenixes were summoned. They spared no effort launching themselves at Lin Yingmei, not giving the girl any room to retreat. They thought only of killing her here. This time, even a top-notch cultivator would undoubtedly die. Let us see who will save you this time. Boom. The phoenixes self-destructed, their powerful force instantly destroying Lin Yingmei. Before Old Pig could breathe a sigh of relief, his victorious smile froze. Cold snow broke through the flames, and the young girl charged out unscathed. How can this be? Old Pig did not dare believe this. The rest is up to you, elder sister, and Suwen's consciousness faded. Her last mind-stealing smoke and rain cleared a final path for Lin Yingmei. Thereupon, the efficacious star's figure also faded into the star nest. Hey! A world-shaking lion's roar broke out of Lin Yingmei's mouth. All of her murderous intent. All of her anger. Too, all of her resolve. This moment was frozen upon Lin Yingmei's lance. With the force of an entire army of cavalry, she stormed the Fenghuang Terrace. At this moment, for the first time, Old Pig's heart gave rise to fear, and he surprisingly subconsciously took several steps back. He did not know whether he was shaken by the conduct of the Star Maiden in front of him or because of the majestic star's power, but at this moment, Old Pig had thoughts of fleeing. But the chilling cold killing intent coming from the majestic star's body had seemed to freeze his legs completely. He felt unable to budge. Bang! Lin Yingmei leapt off crying frost, her Arctic star serpent spear piercing in a straight, ice-cold line. Dark rank technique. Ice heart seals sun and moon. Tao Fenghua had thought that her grand Fenghuang Terrace could stop Lin Yingmei's baleful aura. Dozens of dazzling phoenixes were unable to slow the girl's pace, and the magnificent flames of the Fenghuang Terrace were frozen over. The Shao song came to an abrupt end. Yu Qingshang stared wide-eyed, unable to believe anyone could break through the reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace and come before her, piercing her chest with a spear. Old Pig, Yu Qingshang groaned and slowly fell over. Lin Yingmei retracted her spear and grit her teeth. With cold eyes, she pointed her spear straight at Old Pig and Tao Fenghua. Your servant is Lin Yingmei, young master's woman for all my life, your servant shall face you. Old Pig was completely shaken by Lin Yingmei's chilling cold temperament. Everything that happened before his eyes was outside of his expected forecast. Tao Fenghua and Yu Qingshang's heaven-earth dark yellow skill, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace, was boundlessly powerful in both offense and defense, but these star maidens in front of him unexpectedly used self-sacrifice to build this frosty woman a staircase to victory. In the end, without any suspense, the defense of the Fenghuang Terrace was unable to stop Lin Yingmei's enraged thrust. Impossible, impossible, Old Pig's expression was unsightly to the extreme. Big sister. Seeing Yuqingshang's starfall, Tao Fenghua's heart was in incomparable pain. In Old Pig's star duels, Iron Whistle Yuqingshang played a critical role. Now that she was dead, this was the same as Old Pig losing an arm. Then, the Lin Yingmei who bore the determination of all the sisters pointed her spear directly at Old Pig. Without any hesitation whatsoever, she pounced, stabbing straight at Old Pig. Victory was already clear. Big brother. Tao Fenghua selflessly threw her body in the way. The Feng armor Huang's shield was cleaved apart by the Arctic Star Serpent spear. Then, the ice-cold spear penetrated the girl's chest. Nine-tailed turtle Tao Fenghua disregarded her impending death, turning her head back to utter her last words, "Big brother, quickly flee." The unceremonious spear technique easily sent Tao Fenghua's true spirit back to Maiden Mountain. Old Pig bellowed. His fingers snapped. Gentle Earth Divine Thunder, the yellow gown of coronation, the yellow dragon flying swords, and every kind of magic weapon flew out. Their power was vast, tumbling towards Lin Yingmei like a collapsing mountain. Lin Yingmei sneered, her 5-star destined weapon cutting apart all of the attacks. Roar! Old Pig howled as he pounced at her. Lin Yingmei spun around, her spear piercing into Old Pig's body. "If you are willing, would you inform your servant just what is the matter with Maiden Mountain? Your servant is willing to plead with young master to take revenge for your sisters," Lin Yingmei seriously said. Old Pig laughed aloud. "Take revenge? After you ascend Maiden Mountain, you will not say these 2 words. No matter how powerful Maiden Mountain is, your servant shall not have second thoughts." Lin Yingmei's brow rose, assertive. Old Pig's expression was a bit shocked. He could see that the girl before his eyes was not bluffing, but for a star maiden who descended from Maiden Mountain to unexpectedly face off against Maiden Mountain. No star master in any of the other generations had thought of this. However, it was clear that Lin Yingmei and her sisters were already outside of Old Pig's understanding. Just what kind of person is that purple thunder monster? The disdain previously in his heart gave way to bewilderment. For the first time, Old Pig realized that the man who was able to make Maiden Mountain issue this trial could not possibly be normal, that the man who was able to make the majestic star follow him could not possibly be normal, and that the man who could make so many star maidens brave any danger could not possibly be normal. Old Pig suddenly was very eager to meet this purple thunder monster, but this was already too late. Old Pig's expression contorted. He painfully croaked, "Since this is the case, Old Pig wants to see just whether or not you all can achieve that bold declaration." Saying this, Old Pig waved his hand. A true dragon broke away from that yellow gown of coronation. "This robe is the last pride of the Yu Dragon School. Old Pig asks that your man carry forward this pride to greater heights." The sex decline already made Old Pig disheartened. When he remembered the past, this final yellow gown of coronation was the last testament to the Yu Dragon School's former glory. He let out a bitter howl towards the sky. Whether he was venting the frustration in his heart or reminiscing the heavy price he had paid, Old Pig's true spirit finally vanished into thin air during that heartrending scream. The White Horse Highlands finally resumed its calm. The remaining cultivators already looked dumbstruck at the situation in front of them. Yingmei, Wu Xinjie, Hun Yangzi, and the other girls stepped forward, concerned. Lin Yingmei retracted her spear. She cast a grateful expression towards Wu Xinjie and the others, but she also sighed for the dauntless charge of the other sisters. That man will definitely be very angry. Zhang Feiyu panted. Although Wu Xinjie and the others had succeeded in dispatching the 4th overlord without Su Xing, the price they paid was considered the most disastrous they had since the beginning. And Suan, Tang Lianxin, Shi Yuan, Yan Yizhen, and Zhang Yuqi had all fallen into the star nest. The Su Xing who was 10,000 li away would definitely blow his top when he finds out about this. This is Xinjie's miscalculation. This is all my responsibility. Wu Xinjie felt ashamed of herself. Lin Yingmei shook her head. To do something for Su Xing's sake, not only her wish, but also the wish of all the sisters. After all, none of them wanted to always see Su Xing wounded and battered for their sake. They were star maidens. They were supposed to be ones offering their lives for their star master. Who would allow a star master to lead their charge? If dear husband blames us, then Nyangzi shall shoulder the punishment. Hu Nyangzi calmly answered. Boatman Zhang Feiyu saw their struggle, and she shamelessly said, "Is that punishment you speak of coming your brains out on a bed?" These bare words made the calm Hu Nyangzi blush furiously. Wu Xinjie, on the contrary, thought that this delinquent's idea was very palatable. Liangshan continent had a saying that a husband and wife arguing at the bedside could resolve their dispute by making love on the bed. Furthermore, they had not been together for many days. Wu Xinjie immediately felt this logic was acceptable, making Lin Yingmei and Hu Nyangzi even more bashful. However, the knowledge star did not forget to snicker at Zhang Feiyu's master, Shiyu. Although you address young lord as sir, do you not feel that a little something is missing between you two? Would it not be better to change all of that together? Huh? Shiyu's eyes widened, and her face turned crimson. Zhang Feiyu, that was a good idea. How about you steal a march on your little sister to service young lord? Wu Xinjie suggested to the absolutely unrestrained Zhang Feiyu. Sure, Feiyu also wants to watch this brother-in-law on behalf of little sister. Zhang Feiyu facetiously replied. Lin Yingmei gazed at the yellow gown of coronation that old pig left behind and recalled his final words. Yingmei? Is something the matter? All of the girls gazed at the pensive Lin Yingmei. Lin Yingmei shook her head, not speaking for a long time. Originally, the White Horse Highlands was supposed to be a chance for the Azure Dragon territory to reorganize, yet no one could have anticipated that there would be the scene of the ancient U-Dragon school's reprisal. Instead, the Azure Dragon territory suffered hail on top of snow, a disastrous loss. It was obvious that the Azure Dragon territory's vitality would be harmed for at least the next several centuries. However, what captured their attention the most was the majestic Star Panther head's valiant charge onto the Fenghuang Terrace. This scene was etched deeply into the cultivators' minds. Centuries of reverence and legend about the majestic star had reached a peak, but this was a story for another time. Now, this nevertheless made everyone finally realize just how defiant of the natural order the Purple Thunder monster's strength had already become. Among those shaken were Qingxi and Yunshang. It appears that their relationships are very close. This does not bode well for us. Xian Yunshang rode flower tribute down to Song Qingxi's side, gazing in Lin Yingmei's direction with a moved expression. Originally, they had thought that with Su Xing's numerous top-notch star generals, there would definitely be a weak link among them. But now, it appeared this was far from the case. To be able to face a powerful alone for and without their star master was already unimaginable, let alone sacrificing their own lives. Song Qingxi grunted. Elder sister's plan is no longer feasible. If this continues, even the majestic star and knowledge star will understand the meaning of the star duels at the end. I fear that they will even throw aside our sisterly bonds for the sake of that man. Xian Yunshang continued to analyze. It would be better to fall out with him now. Li Longkuei's murderous intent surged as she watched Lin Yingmei. She was very nearly about to start a slaughter. This is truly frustrating. That man has star generals the likes of the majestic star and Harm star. We are completely no match for him at all. Xian Yunshang rolled her eyes. The tall woman's furious eyes glared. Even so, killing one is still killing one. Longkuei, do not be impulsive. Song Qingxi softly said. Only then did Li Longkuei retract her hostility. Yunshang, do you have some ideas? Song Qingxi gently asked. Elder sister has guessed correctly. Xian Yunshang has a plan that can exploit his righteous words that drew in the majestic star and the others and instead break Su Xing's group from the inside. Xian Yunshang sinisterly sneered, a bit chilling when paired with that ugly mask on her face. What plan would that be? Song Qingxi's brow subconsciously wrinkled. Xian Yunshang's eyes glinted. Elder sister need not worry. Yunshang's plan will first need to be explained to Lady Jingluan. We will see what she decides. Fine then, Song Qingxi nodded, as if there was no other way. Double sevens. Scholar in a white robe Wang Lingji swung her staff, about to smash the galaxy to pieces. You truly are insane. Su Xing muttered. He was not willing to fight against her at all. Grabbing Hua Wanyue's hand and left no time to explain as he jumped onto the magpie bridge. Countless immortal magpies forming the magpie bridge immediately came to life when the pair stepped on. They flapped their wings and surrounded the pair. Lifted by the flock of immortal magpies, their bodies lost balance, floating as if in a cloud. By the time the magpies scattered, Su Xing had already left the boundless galaxy and returned to the Three Clarities field. At this time, owing to Wu Xiao's full killing intent, the Most High Path's disciples already did not dare draw near and were far more quiet than before. Sensing Su Xing's presence, Wu Xiao opened her eyes and could not help but sigh in relief. Lord Husband and Wanyue ought to have successfully completed the trial of the double sevens. Wu Xiao spotted the two tightly holding hands. According to her understanding of the hero star, no man would dare be this intimate with her. Hua Wanyue naturally perceived this detail and wanted to struggle free, but she did not know whether intentionally or unintentionally. His hand grasped very firmly. She was completely unable to struggle free. Should be. Su Xing could not surmise a guess. He turned to face Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyue. Su Xing said in puzzlement, weird, didn't we pass the double sevens? Why don't I feel any changes? Wanyue, do you feel anything? Wu Xiao also did not see any new crimson stars in the sky. You would see me show you ecstatic love? Hua Wanyue snorted. Su Xing snickered. In the end, other than meeting Scholar in a white robe, it remained to be seen what other use this double seven had. Perhaps a contract has been signed. Wu Xinjie guessed. Legend said that the double sevens could give a star master a new contracted star general. Perhaps the two of them needed some ceremony to sign a contract. However, this was a bit superfluous to Su Xing. Wu Xiao's words made Su Xing's eyes light up. He pulled Hua Wanyue in front of him and bent her backwards. A masculine scent struck her in the face and made Hua Wanyue go limp. The hero star subconsciously bent her body, avoiding a head-on collision with Su Xing. Their noses were practically touching, and she could practically feel clearly each of their breathing and heartbeats. What are you doing? Hua Wanyue narrowed her eyes in indifference, using graceful haughtiness to hide her pounding heart. Damn it, she was currently unable to refuse anything this man did to her right now. This posture with the man on top and woman on bottom, this position of resignation to adversity was undoubtedly on full display, making even Wu Xiao doubt what she was saying. Wanyue, are you willing? Su Xing gently said, preparing to take advantage of the lingering atmosphere from the double sevens to sign a contract with Hua Wanyue. Just at this moment, all of a sudden, his mind seemed to explode. Several wives fell into the star nest all at the same time, suddenly making Su Xing's mind temporarily unable to withstand, making him collapse, pinning the completely defenseless Hua Wanyue's body. Hua Wanyue subconsciously exclaimed. Milord, liked it. Bian City, Great Liang Imperial Palace. Emperor Liang was currently flipping through records in his study, his sharp brows tightly wrinkled. Your Majesty, now that the Most High Path has waned, the true immortal palace that Your Majesty had studied under has achieved their cherished wish of becoming the head of the Azure Dragon. Liangshan continent's myriad sects can already be said to have been intimidated. For centuries, no one has been able to threaten the great Liang imperial family's power. Your Majesty, what else is there that vexes you so? The door gently opened. A graceful man dressed in the robe of the national scholar and a black blindfold leisurely walked in. Though his eyes clearly could not see anything, they nevertheless could see very clearly through Emperor Liang's preoccupation. National scholar, you have recovered? Emperor Liang's brows smoothed out. Many thanks for the Queen Mother's troubles, your humble servant is finally well. But this pair of eyes nevertheless will never again see the light of day. The Great Liang Dynasty's national scholar Mo Shangxian slightly smiled. His tall stature aside, the black blindfold upon his face gave him a slightly mysterious feel. Your humble servant was unable to protect thee along the river during Qingming and asks for your majesty's punishment. How can this be blamed on you? Even we would have been helpless. Emperor Liang immediately stepped forward to help him up. Li Taisui had waited until the white tiger demon Qin had attacked the Great Liang Imperial Palace's forbid dance, stolen the along the river during Qingming, and released the prehistoric Liao Emperor to bring about a disaster to the treasure banquet. But to personally see that old man's power, Emperor Liang recognized that he had no chance facing an unfathomable star master with a top-notch star general. Mo Shangxian's strength was something Emperor Liang was very clear on. Supervoid cultivation and the usage of multiple supervoid level puppets. Even with Mo Shangxian already doing his utmost, this was unable to stop them. However, this affair had more or less greatly besmirched the Zhao clan's prestige. Although no one dared say it aloud, gossip like this was not infrequent. Thus, Mo Shangxian had specifically not allowed Queen Mother of West Luen to heal his eyes, a form of self-punishment. But Lord National Scholar, even without using your eyes, you were still able to discern that we were vexed. Emperor Liang smiled. Your Majesty, whenever you are preoccupied, even the air becomes heavy. Mo Shangxian very earnestly answered. Emperor Liang laughed. It seems we must be more aware. Now that the Great Liang Dynasty and the True Immortal Hall are cooperation, pressuring the Azure Dragon territories sets, the Great Liang Dynasty will definitely be unconcerned with state power for the next 100 years. What is your Majesty worried about? Would you share with National Scholar? National Scholar, you are very considerate. The most recent events have made us feel troubled. Emperor Liang drew his arms behind him as he walked to the window and looked over the picturesque mountains and rivers. One after another, both the Treasure Banquet and the Alliance of 10 Conference both showed anomalies. Although we already control the influence of the entire Azure Dragon territory sets, to see the Azure Dragon territory bear a succession of losses, we are unable to be at ease. Your Majesty watches the nation and its people. You indeed are a blessing to this world and the people. Mo Shangxian said respectfully. Most recently, we have issued orders to spy on the Black Turtle, Vermilion Bird, and the White Tiger territories. Today, we have received information that the Liao Emperor commands the White Tiger territories Demon Qin and Fengdu, again forming some kind of array. We fear that they harbor unfathomable motives. The prehistoric Liao Emperor was an expert in arrays. The array at the Crystal Dragon Palace made everyone realize her might. Since she utilized such a massive scale, her background must be significant. This indeed made Emperor Liang feel great danger. Fengdu was the capital of the White Tiger's old Great Liao Kingdom. That place has the 6 Paths Reincarnation Guardians. It is obvious there is no other way. Mo Shangxian shook his head. To invade the center of the White Tiger territories Demon Qin, this was no different from bringing disaster upon oneself. Your humble servant may actually have an idea. What idea? If anyone in the world is capable of facing the Liao Emperor and that White Tiger Star Master, only the Purple Thunder Monster can succeed. If we can draw the Purple Thunder Monster into the White Tiger territory, with his Star General's natures, they would not sit idly by. Both sides will inevitably fall into a war. No matter who wins, we can sit back and be the fisherman who catches the snipe and the clam. Mo Shangxian said. The Purple Thunder Monster was currently like the sun in the sky in Liangshan continent. Although it could be said he would someday inevitably scale Maiden Mountain, he was more or less a threat to the Ling Yan Princess prospects in the star duels. If they could make the Purple Thunder Monster and the White Tiger territory both suffer losses, then Ling Yan Princess Xiao Hanyan could take advantage of that. At that time, the star duels would belong to the Zhao clan. Although Mo Shangxian's analysis was spot on, he nevertheless glossed over one detail: Zhao Hanyan and Su Xing had the 1,000-year intertwined contract. Between them, they shared joy and misfortune, harm and blessings. Additionally, even without this relationship, Emperor Liang was very aware of his daughter's deep feelings for Su Xing. At that time, never mind both sides suffering losses, even Zhao Hanyan could become collateral damage. Emperor Liang did not want to cause trouble for his daughter, and he was also aware that Su Xing's troubles were currently quite numerous. Maiden Mountain had apparently dispatched the previous overlords to confront him, and he would perhaps not seek trouble. If the Liao Emperor appears, Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai will not sit idly by. Let them resolve their hostilities themselves. Emperor Liang shook his head, not wanting to meddle with the star duels. Besides, if there really is something, that senior in the Great Circle Castle will mobilize. When he said this, Emperor Liang paused, then gazed at the faraway mountains in silence. Even if he was acclaimed as the #1 emperor in the Azure Dragon territory, in the end, he was powerless. Even against a few top-notch star generals, he felt that his power was not enough. His strength was far from enough. Emperor Liang raised his head to gaze at that heaven-supporting pillar, Maiden Mountain. He suddenly somewhat understood the significance of the star duels. Perhaps this was a staircase to even greater power for Liangshan continent's cultivators. Emperor Liang reached out with his hand, covering Maiden Mountain in his tightly balled fist. The atmosphere instantly became even heavier. Emperor Liang, who did not wish to involve his own daughter, would never have imagined that Zhao Hanyan was currently already infiltrating the White Tiger territory alone. High cliffs, a sea of clouds, the blue sky and ancient trees. Two noble girls dressed in palace dresses flew along the sky, scanning the boundless sea of trees below. The prehistoric, ancient air in the atmosphere was omnipresent. Even a gentle breath was like a giant mountain pinning them down. The legendary White Tiger territory was far unlike the other three territories. That place has circulated a kind of ancient, prehistoric power since time immemorial. This kind of power was invisible and insubstantive, pervading the White Tiger territory. It would give a person a heavy pressure. Any devoted cultivator often would find it difficult to fully display their own strength or train very rigorously, but if a breakthrough in cultivation was made under such an environment, that progress would be like reaching heaven in a single bound. Many cultivators came to the White Tiger territory to train within the ancient spiritual aura, but most of them end up dead with no grave. Thus, the White Dragon territory was always known as the most fearsome to the other three territories. However, rumor had it that because of this ancient spiritual influence's suppression, most of the demon kin in the White Dragon territory very rarely could leave the territory before they manifested an entire human shapeshift. Otherwise, the White Tiger territory's prehistoric demon beasts would launch invasions, engulfing the entirety of the three territories in a bloodbath. Interesting, that ancient spiritual aura is very formidable, as expected. Even this princess is being somewhat hindered. The woman dressed in a purple skirt and a golden hairpin slightly smiled. She extended her hand and summoned a purple lantern. This lantern shone in all directions, wrapping her body in a hazy smoke. Using the purple smoke-confusing sky lantern here to train is even more successful. This princess really should have come here earlier. Princess Highness, then it would be better to cultivate in this place. Dong Junqing combed her messy hair. The two of them were none other than Ling Yan Princess Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing. Having flown for a long time, Zhao Hanyan had finally flown past the mountains to arrive at this legendary White Tiger territory. The White Tiger territory was indeed a world of difference from the Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, and Black Turtle. She had only just entered, but a sort of very intense sense of danger made Zhao Hanyan's body stretch taut. She did not dare be negligent. Junqing, could it be you want to see this princess fall behind Gong Kaiwei? Zhao Hanyan smiled. Right now, she could be certain that after that little girl realized Su Xing did not have much time, she definitely went to the Black Ice Abyss to search for 10,000-year black ice, for the sake of allowing Su Xing to forge his water element flying sword. As a wife, there was no way she could not bring Su Xing anything. How can she allow some other woman to steal a march on her? Pondering this, Zhao Hanyan therefore ventured to the White Tiger territory. According to what she knew, of the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 immense swords, other than the extinct sun, moon, star, and draconic materials, the fire element flying swords, clinging fire Jian plumage, happened to be in the white tiger territory. As luck would have it, Zhao Hanyan knew where it was. Princess is truly considerate. In matters of love, Princess has but taken an enormous lead. Is this still not enough? Dong Junqing snickered. Zhao Hanyan bashfully glared at her. This princess also wants to experience this white tiger territory. 2 birds, 1 stone. Junqing, if you loathe that this princess is helping Su Xing, then you may watch from the side. Princess Highness, this general did not say she would not help you at all. He is also this general's #1 man. As long as you know, Junqing. We are moving. This general obeys. Liangshan Continent's northern region, the Azure Dragon Territory's coldest place. 10,000-year-old glaciers, frozen skies and earth. The blade-like northern wind felt even more painful than powerful magic weapons or abilities whenever it blew. Even a cultivator could not help but use a magic weapon for protection, but the northern wind was endless. Most of the time, it could exhaust a cultivator's magic energy. In the end, if they were not frozen to death, they would be in the belly of some northern ice demon beast as its next meal. But things did not end there. In this vast, frozen ice plain, there were also many unfathomable crevices scattered around. They were like bottomless pits. If a cultivator fell in one, they would sink into a complex maze of black ice, a very ill-boding prospect. Not even the extreme ice holy palace's cultivators were willing to come here often. This place was none other than the Black Ice Abyss. In this vile atmosphere, a fairy-like woman in white was currently floating leisurely about. Though the north wind wildly blew, it nevertheless did not affect the young woman. The young woman's attire surpassed snow, the same shade as this world of white. She clear and cold eyes were even more chilling, making this world pale in comparison. She was a beauty beyond compare. As Zhao Hanyan had thought. She was none other than immortal hero Princess Gong Kaiwei. The Gong Kaiwei who felt she owed Su Xing too many favors had the intention to pay him back when she learned of Su Xing's immemorial flying swords. The 10,000-year black ice was the easiest material to find for the immemorial flying swords, but as it had not been forged yet, it was easy to imagine how thorny of a problem the water element flying sword posed to Su Xing. But Gong Kaiwei was different. Ever since she was little, she had grown up on the extremely cold soil of the extreme ice holy palace. She was already accustomed to the bitter cold of the north, cultivating the superb gifts of the Ice Spirit Snow Soul Sutra, since she was little, allowing her to face this environment with great ease compared to the normal cultivator. Thus, Gong Kaiwei came to the Black Ice Abyss after she asked the sect for information about the 10,000-year Black Ice's whereabouts. No matter what, Gong Kaiwei honestly wanted to do something for Su Xing. Of course, Gong Kaiwei would never admit that she had fallen in love with Su Xing. Searching for 10,000-year black ice for his sake was merely to repay the favors she owed him. Although searching for the 10,000-year black ice could repay them for life, Gong Kaiwei was still hesitant to do so. And now, Su Xing had no way of knowing that 2 beauties who could ruin a country had each gone to the White Tiger Territory and the Black Ice Abyss in search of 2 flying sword materials. As of this very moment, Su Xing was currently in the Bright Moon Longevity Palace, scolding Wu Xingjie. You were all too stupid. Did you want to infuriate this lord husband to death? Bright Moon Longevity Palace, Su Xing hugged by Yutong, and on his shoulder sat little Huang. Wu Xiao and Hua Wanyue were behind him, deathly silent. The Wu Xinjiu who was being lectured knelt to the side, a clearly pitiful appearance. Hua Wanyue at the side felt this scene was somehow quite pleasing, however, she also felt that this time, the Knowledge Star's schemes were somewhat too wild. After all, when she knew about the 5-star maidens, Su Xing's face was unsightly to the point of murder. Even Hua Wanyue was incessantly fearful. But she was shocked that Su Xing would use the Liangshan jade pendant to rush back, honestly believing some universally shocking abnormality had occurred. When she saw those eyes, Hua Wanhua truly felt that Liangshan continent was very apt to name this man a monster. When he found out that Wu Xinji, Lin Yingmei, Hu Nyangzi, and the others were unhurt and learned of the course of events, Su Xing finally sighed in relief. However, this still made Su Xing endlessly gloomy. This simply made him feel as if he is unable to protect his wives. Wu Xinjie also felt this was inappropriate upon reflection, but at the time, she had wanted to lessen the pressure on Su Xing and was not pondering too much at all. Papa, don't be angry with big sisters. Bai Yutang blinked her big eyes. The little loli sat against Su Xing's chest, weakly tugging at Papa's clothes. Su Xing pet Tangtang's head. Although he was angry, he could not possibly truly be enraged at his wives. He was not a person who was devoid of sense. He knew they did this for his sake. In the future, it's better that you don't do something so reckless. Yingmei, Xinjie, Nyangzi, you all don't have star nests. Su Xing said. Their experience battling the first overlord Lu Yuyu was still vivid on his mind. If they encountered another powerful martial general, dividing their strength would be even more dangerous. The farther they were from this danger, the better. It looks like a star nest is still very important. Su Xing muttered to himself. When the Shi Yuan recovering in the star nest had this, she was even more depressed. It's over, Xinjie has turned this young lady into a spinster. Sir, drink tea. Xinjie has already considered this. Shiyu considerately offered a cup. Yes. Wu Xinjie nodded. The reason why they chose the fourth overlord was because Old Pig did not have martial force star generals. As long as they could force him into using his heaven rank, they completely could confront him with enough room to spare. If they had faced him directly together along with Su Xing, things would have been even more dangerous, on the contrary. But Wu Xinjie had never considered that the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace, between Old Pig, Yu Qingshang, and Tao Fenghua would be so tyrannical. To fell several sisters in succession. This was a painful lesson. Although Tangtang's soul-pulling dream winding enabled instant return to the star nest, ignoring space and distance, the star general would be locked in the star nest for a full 15 days afterwards. That reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace was so incredible. Those phoenixes were truly too magnificent. Young lord, want a sample? Wu Xinjie giggled, very ambiguous. Sample of what? Su Xing was not clear what she meant for a moment. Tonight, Xinjie, Yingmei, and Nyangzi will practice playing the flute on young lord. There are also Shi Yu and Fei Yu. Wu Xinjie's tone was very soft. Su Xing quivered and glared at her. Don't pull other people down with you, he subconsciously glanced at Shi Yu. The latter had naturally heard these quiet whispers. Let alone Wu Xinjie's willingness, her face was suddenly red, and she bashfully averted Su Xing's gaze. Do you need little Huang to help? The little Huang on his shoulder cocked her head. She blinked, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Terrace. With the name of Huang, she should be able to do something. Yes, yes. Wu Xinjie said in delight. Yes, my ass. Su Xing scolded her. Little Huang, don't listen to her blabbering. As luck would have it, little Huang was currently licking a lollipop. Those cherry lips opened and closed, and Su Xing's mind immediately formed a wicked image. This greatly aroused Su Xing, so he immediately slapped himself in the face to calm himself down. As expected, little Huang has enormous sex appeal. Wu Xinjie was very sharp. 2. As long as you are unhurt, I'll let you off just this once. Su Xing fake coughed, restoring the serious atmosphere. I know. However, why did that old pig leave behind the yellow gown of coronation for Lord Husband? Wu Xiao said. Perhaps he truly is thinking of young master. Back then, did Lin Yingmei not say something to him? The Yu Dragon School was destroyed by his actions. Perhaps he wanted to make young master leave behind one final bit of the sex glory. Lin Yingmei said. This was reasonable and fair. That old pig's first thought was to spare no effort in resurrecting the U-Dragon school using his overlord title, even if he had to destroy all other sections. Su Xing did not know whether to say he had an obsession or he was too sentimental for his sect. Then, Wu Xinjie asked about the double sevens matter. Learning of Heavenly Scholar Star Scholar in a white robe made all of the girls very flabbergasted. When asked if they had any recollection of such a thing, they practically were unaware. In the end, they inevitably asked if the double sevens had changed anything about Hua Wanyue and Su Xing. To be able to cross the galaxy and Magpie Bridge together made Wu Xinjie and the others very jealous. They thought there should have been some change. None. No changes whatsoever. Wu Xinjie was depressed, for even scholar in a white robe Wang Luan to emerge, it is too wretched for this double sevens to have nothing at all. Since it is the double sevens, what about those tears of Vega? None either. Sir's four symbols seal was even destroyed, AI. Shiyu sighed. N. Even the life-cast flying swords Heavenly Abyss were completely ruined. All of the girls were speechless. This trip to the double sevens not only failed to form a contract with Hua Wanyue, the life-cast flying swords and powerful magic weapons had been destroyed by Wang Luan's hand, that Wang Lungji is truly abnormal. Sir, you ought to take this dual modes ruler. It's okay, it's okay. To be able to get away safe and sound, losing a few magic weapons is nothing. Su Xing smiled. When she heard this, Wu Xinjie said to herself that their young lord was attentive. That complaining just now from the girls clearly was on behalf of Su Xing feeling that the double sevens was not worth it. The knowledge star also said a piece. Despite the kind words, the destruction of the life-cast earth element flying swords gave Su Xing a headache. His primary defensive flying swords were much more useful than normal flying swords, and Su Xing wanted to reforge them as quickly as possible. Wu Xinjie said, everyone is tired today, rest well tonight. Let us begin planning tomorrow. Night fell. Su Xing returned to his bedroom. He opened the door and was greeted by a serene scent. He saw Lin Yingmei, Hun Yangzi, and Wu Xinjie wearing slightly shy expressions, sprawled over the bed. Her long hair spilling over her shoulders, Lin Yingmei wore only the snow-white snow-winged cicada bodice, offset only by her skin that surpassed snow, dazzling to the eyes. Lin Yingmei stared at Su Xing. She was not bashful at all. As the first wife, Lin Yingmei would not be outdone. Even on the bed, her fair, jade legs retained a charm that drew out a man's wildest fantasies. Hun Yangzi was sexy and alluring. Her black hair flowed, and her magnificent, water-blue bodice hardly covered her. Although the girl's breasts were not as well developed as Lin Yingmei's nor as towering as Wu Xinjie's, they nevertheless were firm as spring shoots, enough to make people drool, too unable to help but want to suck on them. As the most beautiful of the maidens, Hun Yangzi's delicate, naked beauty was completely flawless. Her golden eyes carried a grief that was eternally obscured by mist. Her downcast eyes did not dare look at Su Xing. This feebleness and compliance made Su Xing flare with the urge to love her. Finally, Wu Xinjie was also not to be outdone. Her see-through silk underwear revealed every last detail of her ample chest that was so plump they seemed about to rip open her clothes. Her underwear had a small slit, revealing the deep cleavage in between. Wu Xinjie's underwear adopted an original approach. According to Su Xing's understanding, this was full of appeal. As for her lower underwear, her thong covered exactly that spot between the girl's legs. Following the slight movements of Wu Xinjie's jade legs, black underbrush could be occasionally glanced. 3. To speak of alluring, this was a trick Wu Xinjie was an expert in. Young lord, the sisters have fallen into the star nest, and only we emerged safe and sound. We ask that young lord properly punish us tonight. Wu Xinjie said pitifully. For such a beautiful scene, Su Xing could not resist at all. Just from a glance, his desire reared its head, unable to be stopped. Then proper punishment it is. Su Xing shut the door, and the soft moans of the girls immediately echoed. Young Master Su Xing, NNN-, dear husband, do not kiss that place, I really want you all. Wait a moment, young lord, you are being too rough, maybe we should have made the sisters speak to you about that, reminiscing the Shao players at Fenghuang Palace. This night was one of embarrassment. While Su Xing and the three girls made love, Hua Wanyue and Wu Xiao drank at a pavilion. He truly is profligate. Hua Wanyue drank her wine. When she thought of the scene of Lin Yingmei and Su Xing tightly bound to each other, her heart was gloomy. Wu Xinjie's loud voice seemed to not care that others would hear them. Wu Xiao's face slightly blushed, drinking wine silently. Will you not say anything of Yingmei? Hua Wanyue asked. Why speak at all? Wu Xiao answered matter-of-factly, this is something a husband and wife should be doing, is there anything profligate about it? Hua Wanyue had actually forgotten that the Wu Xiao in front of her addressed Su Xing as Lord Husband. Then, Xiao, you have done it with this man? No, Lord Husband is concerned about your servant's star nest. Wu Xiao calmly replied. Hua Wanyue was taken aback. Wu Xiao seemed to imply that if that man so wished, she would not oppose in the slightest. Was this still the legendary cool and elegant pilgrim? The hero star continued to drink her sorrows away. Suddenly, the hero star's body quivered, and her throat could not help but let out a moan. Wanyue, is your body unwell? Wu Xiao's brows twisted. Hua Wanyue widened her eyes in alarm. Her face was red enough to burst into a cold sweat. I shall return to my room for now. Saying this, she left the pavilion as if she was fleeing in terror, which made Wu Xiao's brows tighten even more. Can it be, this is bad? Hua Wanyue bit into her own finger. She did her utmost to control a kind of strange voice that wanted to leave her throat. Her body's sensitive places felt as if they were burning, as if a million ants were crawling over them. A kind of unprecedented pleasure came from her body's sensitive spots that coursed through her entire body. Hua Wanyue tightly clamped her legs together. The strange sensation had come on without warning, and her lower body seemed to flow with a tide. Hua Wanyue's eyes were about to shoot fire. Su Xing and the girls' lovemaking was unexpectedly being transmitted to her. Damn it, god damn it, Hua Wanyue panted. The intense pleasure made her subconsciously use her hand to gently rub, but that pleasure became even more intense. Her moans were like a melody. Yet it did not escape the eyes and ears of the attentive. Outside her room, Wu Xiao leaned on the door, her hand holding a cup of wine that she faintly drank. The next day. When he awoke from his deep sleep, the time was already midday. The tight embrace of last night was more than frantic, and add on the absolute security of the Bright Moon Longevity Palace, all of the wives had seldom relaxed and let down their guard. Without disturbing their rest, Su Xing left the bedroom by himself. He walked to a lakeside pervaded by immortal mist. Su Xing spotted Gongsun Huang using the immortal lakewater to brush her teeth. Leisure Star Dragon in the clouds hovered in the air, her little hand gently brushing. That toothbrushing seemed innocent for the lowly. Her brushing posture was very elegant. Liangshan continent's toothbrushes were mostly a bamboo strip or a willow branch. For the rich, perhaps they used a toothbrush fashioned from ivory or gems. However, the toothbrushes the wives used in the Longevity Palace had been duplicated exactly from Su Xing's memory by Tang Lianxin. Even toothpaste had been created using Ensuan's medicine, which could be considered very extravagant. Your Highness. Gongsun Huang blinked when she saw Su Xing and very quickly finished brushing her teeth. Su Xing smiled to her and also began brushing his teeth. Gongsun Huang was light as a feather, floating to Su Xing's shoulder and quietly sitting down. After freshening up, Su Xing then went to the kitchen in search of something to eat. To be frank, for a supervoid cultivator like Su Xing, star energy filled every pore of his body. He was completely without a sense of hunger, as if he was an ascetic. However, Su Xing would still eat when he had the leisure, feeling that this was what made for a normal person's livelihood. Receiving his influence, the Bright Moon Longevity Palace's kitchen prepared foodstuffs, and some of the wives also tasted the delicacies. As a matter of fact, Wu Xiao was in the kitchen drinking a keg of fine wine and eating a large pile of beef. "Wifey, you're up so early." Su Xing greeted her. Wu Xiao grunted. Su Xing made himself breakfast and then gorged himself. "Lord husband, was there really no abnormality after you and Wanhua visited the Double Sevens?" Wu Xiao wiped her red lips, suddenly asking. It's too pitiful. I wasted your good intentions." Su Xing shook his head. "What?" Su Xing noticed Wu Xiao had something to say. At this moment, Hua Wanhua also walked in. "Wanhua, what happened to you last night?" Su Xing noticed that Hua Wanhua's spirit was a little haggard, her pace a bit preoccupied, completely unlike the normal Hua Wanhua. Normally, the hero stars each and every step was as resolute as a boulder. Hua Wanhua looked at Su Xing, and a slight blush immediately appeared on her pale palsy. She hatefully glared at Su Xing, saying in a low voice, "You lecher." Su Xing thought Hua Wanhua was referring to that inseparable intimacy he had with Lin Yingmei, Wu Xinjie, and Hu Nyangzi last night. He helplessly said, "Wanhua, you're still not used to it." Hua Wanhua's body quivered when she heard this. That weak blush immediately flared like a flame. She grabbed a cup of water before leaving with a harumph, leaving only her beautiful figure. "Lord husband, Wanhua may be one in body with you." Wu Xiao pondered for a while before deciding to inform Su Xing of what happened last night. It could be imagined that this lord husband of hers would have many more unbelievable nights, and Wu Xiao did not want to see these two continue their misunderstandings. "What one in body?" Su Xing perspired. Wu Xiao summarized what happened last night. When she saw Hua Wanhua looked ill, she went to check, only to find the hero star's extremely moist state. Wu Xiao was no fool. She would never concede that Hua Wanhua's behavior was due to the sounds of Su Xing making love to his wives, so she thought that this was probably the effect of the Double Sevens. As a treasure that could allow a star master to have a third star general, it was not possible for the Double Sevens to be useless. It was possible that Hua Wanhua and Su Xing's consciousnesses were one. After hearing her theory, Su Xing's brow tightly wrinkled. "But I don't sense anything. That is strange." Wu Xiao shook her head, unable to think this through. Su Xing's eyes turned. He slyly smiled, "Wifey, can we test if Wanhua really is one with my consciousness?" Wu Xiao was pulled into Su Xing's embrace. The cool and elegant pilgrim did not know whether it was the drink or not, but she had a bit of a tipsy charm. "Lord husband, how do you wish to test this?" "Your servant shall oblige you." A reply was unnecessary. With their perfect harmony, their linked hearts, everything happened tacitly. Su Xing lowered his head and kissed those red lips. They passionately embraced. Su Xing wantonly kissed Wu Xiao's small lips, extending his tongue into Wu Xiao's mouth and writhing about. From time to time, he sucked on her glossy and supple tongue. Wu Xiao obediently followed her lord husband, their tongues rolling around each other. Ho's body seemed to be on fire, and lust immediately surged from his dantian, gradually dribbling out. Little Huang floated off of Su Xing's shoulder, blinking her bright eyes. Using the wind as a chair, she watched this lively scene. Wu Xiao's body trembled. Su Xing nibbled on her pearl-like ears, gently kissing them. A fire spread throughout her body, immediately making her feel incomparably hot. Wu Xiao had never been kissed by a man like this. She was temporally limp, allowing Su Xing to do as he pleased. Then, Su Xing again kissed her snow-white neck. His hands continuously wandered over her well-developed body. Her snow-white silk palace dress highlighted her shapely curves, still feeling incomparably supple through the clothes separating them. His hand could not help but reach into her clothes, fondling her proud twin peaks under her bodice. He kneaded her round and soft breasts in one hand. The softness in the palm of his hand made Su Xing unable to help but need it for a while. "Lord husband," Wu Xiao gently softly moaned. Early morning drink and love made her eyes unfocused. Her breasts felt a burst of cold as her bodice was gently pushed aid. Her plump white breasts spilled forth. The abrupt rising motion made Wu Xiao's brain fry. An intense impulse arose in her heart. The harm star tightly bit her lips, reaching her arms behind her to brace against the corner of the table. Her breasts were already drawn into her lord husband's mouth. His hands also claimed the surrounding suppleness, fondling them endlessly in his hands. That strange feeling made Wu Xiao unable to help but let out moans endlessly, "Nha, on," although she did her utmost to inhibit this voice, she wanted to let it out. Su Xing had originally only wanted to flirt with Wu Xiao to test whether or not Hua Wanyue actually felt pleasure, but when he kissed Wu Xiao, Su Xing was easily drawn in. Whatever goal he had was already thoroughly renounced. Listening to Wu Xiao's soft moans, his heart only wanted to reach the climax with this beauty. The moment that Wu Xiao called addressed Su Xing as Lord Husband, her body already belonged only to this one man. Now, she allowed Su Xing's hands to do whatever he pleased with her spotlessly white body, as if she was a docile wife. Su Xing's evil claws forcefully rubbed her plump and elastic breasts. He sucked incessantly on her lips, kissing her, reducing Wu Xiao to heavy panting. Her towering breasts undulated endlessly like hills. Last night, when Su Xing was being rowdy with Lin Yingmei and the others, although Wu Xiao was indifferent, she was still somewhat frustrated at heart. And when she heard Hua Wanyue's strange behavior, she was even more lonesome. The desire she originally suppressed was continuously aroused under Su Xing's provocations. She could not help but stick out her chest, wish that she could fit her entire breast into her lord husband's mouth. At this time, her thoughts similarly consisted only of perfect harmony with Su Xing, to reach the peak with him. Last night, Yingmei must have attended to lord husband like this. Wu Xiao's clothes were half undone. She pushed aside her bangs, fully revealing her charm. Su Xing quivered, and his whole body jolted. He had completely forgotten about Gongsun Huang, who was hovering above, observing Su Xing and Wu Xiao. Already accustomed to this, Gongsun Huang very indifferently pointed with her hand, levitating a tanghulu into her hand. Then, her little mouth opened. She licked and sucked the tanghulu in boredom. When she finished eating the tanghulu, the action below her reached the end. "Wifey, Xiao," Su Xing shouted in excitement, his whole body quivering. Immediately afterwards, he was unable to hold back. It flowed like a tide. Omitting the details, too, Wu Xiao stood up and swallowed, her appearance alluring. Half-undone underwear, an ample and well-developed figure, an alluring expression, and that tongue seductively licking the corner of her lips. Su Xing could not hold back against the enticement of the cool and elegant beauty in front of him. However, all of a sudden at this moment, the wind whooshed. "Your Highness!" Gongsun Huang gently called out. Bang! The window shattered. An arrow flew shot between them with the speed of a thunderbolt. The intense star energy was like a bucket of ice water, completely dousing the mood. The killing intent in the arrow was chilling and savage. This was none other than 10,000 god-killing arrow. It seems someone is angry. Wu Xiao rearranged her bodice, tidying her clothes. "Don't mind her, wifey, let's go to the bedroom." Su Xing grabbed Wu Xiao's hand. "Does Lord Husband truly want your servant?" Wu Xiao's brow rose. "Not yet." Su Xing scolded himself. Not too long ago, he had felt the star nest was important, and he nearly indulged his desires just now. "Wifey, wait until after the Overlord trials are done, and then we can consummate." Su Xing held Wu Xiao's slim waist. Wu Xiao's heart bubbled with warmth. She obediently grunted. "Lord Husband, you had better console Wanyue first for now." "Oh, that she and I are of one body is really troublesome," Su Xing was vexed. Hua Wanyue glared at Su Xing. This man was honestly too devoid of morals. Last night, he had romped with Ingmei for so long, and he was still able to continue first thing in the morning. He made her nearly unable to practice her morning archery. Su Xing, are you willing to act as your servant's lord or not? Hua Wanyue's words surprised everyone. Not willing. Su Xing's answer was even more shocking. Huh? Hua Wanyue blanked out. Su Xing said, I feel it would be more fair for you to be my wife. Hua Wanyue's face blushed, and she said, if you cannot even be your servant's lord, then how can you be your servant's husband? Oh, that was logical. Then I can only try my hardest. Su Xing smiled. Could Hua Wanyue's brazen confession be caused by the double sevens? Hua Wanyue said, then good. Since you are your servant's lord, your subordinate naturally has the responsibility of regulating milord's behavior. Regarding conduct outside of battle, there is no need for any actions that waste energy. Your servant shall prohibit any of this. Damn, I was fooled. This was Hua Wanyue's true aim. Wu Xiao chuckled from the side. Just as Su Xing was about to take advantage of Hua Wanyue's declaration to sign a contract with her, the Bright Moon Longevity Palace abruptly jolted. Space warped, and a figure suddenly entered. Everyone immediately became guarded. My darling Wu Hui, can't you knock on the door before coming in? Su Xing helplessly looked at the guest. Other than Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai, no one else could come and go so freely from an immortal's abode. Thousand Buddha Star Chao Wu Hui's expression was very stern. She was in no mood to kid around. She opened the door and seriously said, this one has come today to bring you 2 pieces of information. What's the bad news this time? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Every time Chao Wu Hui showed up, there was nothing good. So long as thee knoweth. Chao Wu Hui said, Maiden Mountain has decided in advance of the 3 heavenly books, the remaining overlords shall renounce their trials for you. Renounce? Although this was good news, Su Xing somehow felt this was quite regretful. He actually was quite eager to meet the previous overlords. To be frank, the first generation's Lu Yuyu, the second's Gongsun Zhuqing, and the third's twin Xie sisters gave him deep impressions. No need to feel regret because Xian knew of the 9 firmaments orders that after the 3 heavenly books, 3 generations of overlords shall unite to besiege you. Chao Gai laughed. What, 3 overlords together? Su Xing and the others were shocked. Maiden Mountain is too shameless doing this. Hua Wanyue said angrily. You should not have passed the double sevens with the hero star. Chao Gai shook her head. Is Maiden Mountain so fearful of me? Su Xing had a relaxed smile on the contrary. Chao Wu Hui sighed. She had an unclear regret and pity. In the 9th star duels, one person must scale Maiden Mountain, but it is a pity, that person is not you. When Hunyangzi awoke from her beautiful dream, she was already the only one left on the bed. Her 2 elder sisters, Majestic Star Lin Yingmei and Knowledge Star Wu Xinjie, had already risen. She did not know who it was that was as gentle as a feather, but they had covered her body with a blanket as thin as a cicada's wing, making her sleep considerably comfortable. If it was not for the ice-cold hatred that once occupied her heart, Hunyangzi would have thought she was not in the star duels, to have had sex last night with her dear husband and the other sisters, and to rise so beautifully in the morning, she seemed genuinely like a wife. Therefore, Bright Star 10 feet of blue Husanyang rose from the bed. First of all, she put on a pair of silken, moon-white stockings over her sparkling, slender jade legs. Then, she dressed in underwear that hid the girl's delicate secret place, covered afterwards with a water-smoke short skirt. Then she took a narrow piece of underwear to wrap up those ample breasts that were full of hickeys left from Lord Husband's love last night. Finally, a bodice hid the rest of their sweet intimacy. Her black hair spilled over her shoulders like a cascade, and when she finally wore her outer garments, Hunyangzi's golden pupils appeared very tender. Her unblemished skin looked as fragile as a baby's. A slight curve appeared upon her lips. As the name 10 feet of blue implied, she was a deadly viper. At any moment, she could strike mortal fear into a person. The queen of beauty and venom of 9 generations, she had never shown soft-heartedness even around her own contractor. But no one could have imagined that the 9th bright star would be full of thoughts for her dear husband as she dressed in the morning. Hun Yangzi hid her little, tender thoughts, subsequently leaving the bedroom. In the plaza of the Longevity Palace, she happened to spot her dear husband and the sisters worriedly discussing something. "Nyangzi, you're up." Su Xing lifted his head to smile at her in greeting. "Dear husband, has something happened?" Hun Yangzi softly asked. Su Xing said carefreely, "Oh, just a tiny little thing." Wu Xinjie promptly said, "Maiden Mountain has finally become overbearing this time. We must quickly mobilize." Hun Yangzi. What is there to be afraid of? The one who spoke was the refined hero star Hua Wanyue. She disdainfully twitched her lip, 3 overlords in tandem. This merely shows that Maiden Mountain is at wit's end that she would use such a contemptible method, but put another way, this means Su, Milord has already struck fear into Maiden Mountain. From then to now, Milord's current strength cannot be matched with 1 overlord. 3 would be nothing either. Although this is true, Wanyue, do not forget that the 6th overlord is 10 feet of blue Husanyang. That one possesses a 7-star weapon. Wu Xinjie shook her head. Without another star upon her star weapon, the consequences of using their Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill would be higher. Even Lin Yingmei would be unable to contend against the 7-star destined weapon of Husanyang. Chao Gai said after the 3 heavenly books. Yingmei's star weapon should be able to reach 6 or 7 star by then. Wu Xiao interjected. In short, this is for the time being. However, we had better seize the initiative before the 3 heavenly books to quickly finish our tasks. There will be no more chances afterwards. Is there anything dear husband requires of Nyangzi? Hun Nyangzi asked. Nyangzi, your star weapon also needs upgrades. Any way it's put, the 6th Husanyang is your senior, Nyangzi. I do not want you to lose to her. Su Xing said. Hearing their contractor's indomitable words, all of the girls knowingly smiled. Hun Yangzi nevertheless said, Dear husband, there is no need to mind Nyangzi. Right now, elder sister Yingmei's star weapon is the most important. What she said was true. Even though Lin Yingmei and Hun Yangzi's star weapons differed by a level, the distance between their natural martial prowess was quite clear. The panther head held an obvious advantage. Each upgrade to a star weapon required enormous material expenditures. To upgrade one was doable, but Su Xing had a dozen wives. To upgrade each and every one indeed was too difficult. Nyangzi, you listen to me this time. Su Xing did not allow her to refuse. Wu Xinjie had said as well, according to common sense, Su Xing giving each of the beauties a star weapon upgrade was indeed too difficult. However, they fortunately had that ruler of the Great Circle Castle who could greatly lessen the burden. At the very least, they could save lots of time in searching for information about star weapon materials. Other than upgrading star weapons, there was also another matter that was also urgent. This was Su Xing's life-cast flying sword, the Heavenly Spirit Earthly Fiend Purple Star 5 Elements Sword. Someday, a situation could be imagined where Su Xing would become the target of everyone. Even with the accompaniment of the Majestic Star, the Harm Star, and other top-notch martial generals, it was obvious the overlords would aim their spearheads at Su Xing. Therefore, they must bolster Su Xing's strength. The Earth Element Heavenly Abyss were completely destroyed in the double sevens and required reforging using Black Turtle Divine Iron. This needed to wait until Tang Lianxin emerged from the star nest. And the remaining, Fire Element, and Water Element, materials needed to be settled before the 3 heavenly books. The northern region's Black Ice Abyss deepest place has the Water Element's 10,000-year black ice. I already have a Vermilion Jian map that should allow me to settle the Fire Element's clinging Fire Jian feather. Su Xing paused and looked at all of the girls, his expression quite conflicted. One is in the Azure Dragon Territory's northernmost region. The other is in the White Tiger Territory. The distance between them is too vast. Lord Husband does not have enough time to gather them. It appears. Wu Xiao knew what face Su Xing made when he was reluctant to part. It appears that we must once again part ways from young lord. Wu Xinjie helplessly said. Then, Xiao and Wanyue, your servant leaves young master's protection to you both. Lin Yingmei did not hesitate to step forward. Your servant shall go to the Black Ice Abyss. Lin Yingmei's star weapon was the Arctic Star Serpent Spear, and her star beast was the snow-walking Frost-Eye Beast. Ice-type by nature, this really was perfect for Lin Yingmei. Yingmei, that place's topography is dangerous. To let you go alone, I won't be at ease. Su Xing used his eyes to stop Lin Yingmei from opposing. Then, he turned his gaze to Harm's star pilgrim. Xiao, you go together with her. Your concubine obeys. Yingmei, Xiao, you two have inherited the reputation of thousand-year star generals. The two of you should unite once more at the end. Wu Xinjie giggled. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao glanced at each other. The two of them never were the indecisive sort. Then Xiao and your servant shall strive forth with full effort for young master. Lin Yingmei slightly smiled. Wu Xiao showed a touched smile and nodded. Su Xing assumed responsibility for the fire element sword, journeying together along with the two contrasting Lolis Gongsun Huang and Bai Yutang, as well as Shi Yu and Hua Wanyue. Although the White Tiger territory was extremely dangerous, with frightening star masters the likes of Li Taisui, they could be relieved with Su Xing's formation. Even Wu Xinjie felt that if they encountered Li Taisui, letting little Huang unleash her Heaven Reyank technique would be a fine solution. Other than this, Su Xing naturally knew that Wu Xinjie's arrangements were to create an opportunity to deepen his relationships with Shi Yu and Hua Wanyue. No matter how it was put, Shi Yu was among the wives. However, her relationship seemed to be the most dull among all of the girls. Finally, the materials for Hunyangzi's star weapon were left to Hunyangzi and Wu Xinjie. Upgrade materials for a heavenly star general were difficult to find, but the bright star was quite lenient by contrast. In the future, when they would face the sixth overlord bright star 10 feet of blue, to use Su Xing's loving words, his wife could not lose. But it was a pity the heavenly spirit earthly fiend 5 elements swords, sun, moon, star, and draconic materials were already extinct in Liangshan. Otherwise, if they could assemble the complete immemorial flying swords, an assault on Maiden Mountain in the future was not out of the question. At this point, Su Xing recalled the galaxy substance he had siphoned from the double sevens. Bringing it out flooded the plaza immediately with a resplendent river of stars, as if night had fallen, a splendid scene. All of the girls stared blankly. Wu Xinjie had never seen such a thing. Perhaps this is related to the sun, moon, stars, and dragon. We will only know when Lianxin emerges from the star nest. Since this was inside the double sevens, it cannot be insufficient, can it? Could it be that a tool refinement great sect like the Four Styles School does not have any records? Hua Wenyue's brows twisted. The Four Styles School had too many records, and Su Xing could not possibly investigate them all. Having Zhu Yueka do so was not a bad idea, but to do so was too offensive. Su Xing was afraid of drawing her suspicion. As he thought of this, Su Xing's mind shifted and he brought out a token. The Four Styles School's token was specially forged with thousandly sound transmission. At this time, Zhu Yueka happened to summon him to the halls. Sisters, the next time we meet, let us sweep over Maiden Mountain together with Lord Husband. Wu Xinjie's passionate words made all of the girls knowingly smile. This made Hunyangzi slightly distracted, and she could not help but stare at Su Xing. These were still the star duels, but because of him, they were not as cruel as she remembered. There was no time to lose. All of the girls immediately split off. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao departed together, making yearning appear in Hua Wenyue's heart. Afterwards, Hunyangzi and Wu Xinjie also bade farewell. Wu Xinjie intentionally French kissed with Hu Nyangzi and Su Xing, young lord, must take advantage of this chance to properly attend to Shi Yu and Wan Yue. Wu Xinjie whispered into his ear. Do you even need to lecture me on this? Su Xing smiled and spanked her butt. There is another thing. The White Tiger territory has daredevil third brother Shi Xiuxiu. She may have been targeted by Li Taisui. Young lord, promise Xinjie that you will go induct this bold little sister into the harem, okay? Su Xing unhappily said, Xinjie, do you think your lord husband is a love saint? He, in Xinjie's heart, young lord is Xinjie's love saint. Wu Xinjie giggled. In short, if young lord sees her, you must properly attend to her. Of course, that is if she and young lord do not become hostile. She is a very good little sister. Xinjie is quite fond of her. Even if you don't tell me, I know what to do. Su Xing grabbed Wu Xinjie's supple butt. Wu Xinjie moaned, and her arms wrapped around Su Xing's neck, her tone very longing. Xinjie hates to part with young lord. After we return, Xinjie must have young lord love me tenderly. Go, be careful. Su Xing gently said. Nyangzi, you as well. Su Xing instructed Hu Nyangzi. The two girls were reluctant to part. Considering this concerned the final step in happiness Su Xing could bring all of the sisters, they could only do so. However, before she left, Wu Xinjie the little fox still did not forget to whisper to Shi Yu. After we return, let us serve young lord together, Shi Yu. Let us agree to this, which made Su Xing a bit embarrassed. No need to wait until they return. Now that no one is here, Shi Yu and Su Xing should go to the bedroom right now. I, Feiyu, shall observe. Seeing that they had all left, Zhang Feiyu giggled. Shi Yu's face was a thorough red as she lowered her head. We can cross that bridge when we get there. Shi Yu, we have many days ahead of us, Su Xing earnestly said. This wife understands. Shi Yu smiled and nodded. Wan Yue and you two stay here for now. I'll go meet with master. Saying this, Su Xing left the immortal's abode. With Tang Lianxin, and Suwen, Yan Yizhen, Zhang Yuqi, and Shi Yuan all in the star nest recovering, the bustling immortal's abode was instantly silent. I suddenly feel that with a man like this, making our sisters renounce this mutual slaughter and live together is pretty good. Zhang Feiyu sighed. Even you would give away your virginity? Hua Wanyue indifferently said. The delinquent girl's reply was naturally instant. If this man is worth Feiyu's virginity, that would be quite interesting, too. Su Xing spotted Zhu Yueka and the current headmaster of the Four Styles Sword Sect, Daoist Master Xian Tian, at the entrance to the Four Styles Sword Sect's mountain. After using the Thousand-Year Tears, Daoist Master Xian Tian had broken through to Supervoid stage, and he exhibited a considerably more reserved presence than Su Xing remembered. Disciple greets master and greets headmaster. Su Xing cupped his fist. Daoist Master Xian Tian was somewhat alarmed, and he promptly said, Su Xing, no need to stand on ceremony. That this old man and the Four Styles School have a today is all thanks to your assistance, your distinguished self. This old man does not deserve your reverence. Zhu Yueka stood to the side, beaming with a profound smile as she watched Su Xing. Many in Liangshan continent respected only strength. Su Xing's current cultivation was Supervoid stage, but this arrogance nevertheless did not have one bit of a Supervoid ancestral master's might. This honestly felt fresh to Zhu Yueka. What senior brother is saying is that although you are my disciple, I have nothing to teach you. Zhu Yueka paused, glancing at Daoist Master Xian Tian. Master, headmaster, is something the matter? Su Xing asked. Where is Lianxin? Zhu Yueka asked back. Su Xing had already thought of an excuse. Lianxin is currently helping your servant forge a magic weapon. She is unable to leave at this time. Zhu Yueka nodded and sighed. Truly, you have suffered. Thanks to your aid, Su Xing, the Four Styles School has finally completed the wish of many over 100 years, to once again surmount the Azure Dragon Territory's alliance of 10. Master and Headmaster have discussed that we cannot allow you to face the star duels alone. Now that the star duel situation has been complicated, for even those previous overlords to appear, and the variables known as the Purple Thunder Monster and the White Tiger Demon Qin, these star duels are exceptionally perilous. Zhu Yueka wrinkled her brow. She appeared to truly be concerned with Su Xing's prospects. However, if she knew that that abnormal Purple Thunder Monster was standing in front of her this very instant, what sort of expression would she make? Your servant was just thinking of visiting the White Tiger Territory. The 3 heavenly books will emerge next month during mid-autumn. This is the time to go see the White Tiger Territory. Su Xing did not hide this. You going alone is too dangerous. Teacher shall accompany you. Zhu Yueka said. Master, no need. Going to the White Tiger Territory is because of the star duels. There is no need for you to intercede, Master. Su Xing said. Zhu Yueka thought so as well. For a mere supercluster late-stage master like her to go to the White Tiger Territory, SEE could only be a burden to Su Xing. The beautiful woman could not help but force a smile. The man in front of her was too humble, such that Su Xing made her want to treat him with the doting care of an elder. This time, this old man has sought to give you something to help you in the star duels. Taoist Master Xian Tian spoke of the reason he called Su Xing over. Something? Su Xing blinked. He did not know of anything the Four Styles School had that could help him. Even that sect-guarding treasure, the Four Styles Qianquan sword, was not very useful in Su Xing's perspective. And Taoist Master Xian Tian could not possibly give Su Xing the Four Styles Qianquan sword. This generational sect-guarding treasure could only be passed to a headmaster. Taoist Master Xian Tian did not dare betray the founder's orders. Zhu Yueka guessed Su Xing's thinking and slightly smiled. Come with this old man Yueka, you stand guard here for now. N. Taoist Master Xian Tian turned and entered the mountain with Su Xing following closely behind. This already was not the first time that Su Xing was inside the Four Styles School's mountain. He remembered that when he first came here, there was a curious secret in the tomb. He even sneakily opened the secret of the tomb with Wu Xinjie and the others, finding the tomb of the founding master. Su Xing remembered he even obtained a Qian Heaven Astral Wind and a Sarira, however, because he had the Purple Star Transforming Qi and the Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, he had constantly forgotten the Qian Heaven Astral Wind chant in a corner. 2. It could not be that Taoist Master Xian Tian would suddenly unseal the tomb's secret to pass it on to him. Su Xing's head burst with sweat when he thought of this. The path that Taoist Master Xian Tian brought Su Xing along was not from the Bagua array. Rather, they entered a winding passageway, descending the entire way. The walls were hung with never-extinguishing longevity lanterns. This was the first time that Su Xing had truly seen the interior of the Four Styles School's mountain tomb. The tombs within were all extremely large. Beside differently shaped guardian beasts, each tomb had 4 or 5 giant, vivid and lifelike statues of the grave's owner. The Four Styles School was an expert in tool refinement, so the statues they produced were naturally unique. In actuality, several complex talisman scripts and arrays were carved inside them. At the slightest disturbance, the entire mausoleum would react. At that time, the intruder would become food inside the belly of a giant beast. Su Xing reckoned that if he had rashly probed the tomb back then, he would perhaps face very poor odds. In front of each ancestral master, Taoist Master Xian Tian paid his respects. Stopping and going like this for a while, they finally came to the end of the passage. Here, the longevity lanterns that never faded had already been snuffed out. The surroundings were too dark to even see anything. With Su Xing's current divine consciousness, he already no longer required his eyes to see. He could very easily sense Taoist Master Xian Tian contemplating in front of a wall. Then, green, crimson, white, and blue lights flashed in the darkness. The 4 types of rays glittered. The green rocked with the sound of thunder. The crimson was as fierce as flame. The white was as gentle as a breeze. The blue ran continuously like water. The 4 styles appeared, very imposing. Su Xing previously felt that the 4-style Qianquan sword was not useful to him, but now that he was very close, he found that this sword was actually very worthy of its title as the 4-style school's sect-guarding treasure. As expected, there was some truth to that. Taoist Master Xian Tian brought out the 4 styles Qianquan sword, then recited an incantation. He raised his hand and inserted the sword into the wall. As it was still stuck in the wall, it acted like a key. Following a turn of the sword, the 4 spirits flowed along the veins of the wall in succession. Su Xing noticed that this was following pathways the 4 spirits' mutual engenderment that Lianxin once resurrected. A rumbling noise. An astonishing scene occurred. This wall that was impenetrable to even Su Xing's divine consciousness was surprisingly as heavy as a gate, slowly opening. The reason the 4 styles Qianquan sword is retained by the headmaster of each generation is because this sword is the key to opening this sect's greatest secret. Taoist Master Xian Tian's voice was slow and distant. Now, Su Xing could not help but wonder just what the 4 styles school's greatest secret was. Behind the door was a 100-square-meter cave. It appeared extremely nondescript with reflecting sunlight and flowing waters. Everything appeared so serene, but it nevertheless also gave Su Xing a sort of indescribable feeling of astonishment. This was clearly a space that was sealed shut, so how could there be sunlight and seawater? A towering rock was in the middle of the cave. A stalk of vegetation grew upon the rock, gently swaying. It looked like an ox's horn and was very fragrant. Taoist Master Xian Tian and Su Xing walked before the grass. Su Xing thought to himself, this greatest secret of the 4 styles school can't be this odd-looking grass, can it? Be careful, touch not the water inside. Taoist Master Xian Tian's expression was stern. Su Xing nodded, not understanding his nervous attitude. He glanced curiously at the grass. As expected, the grass had gathered some dew. It wafted a mouth-watering fragrance, enticing Su Xing to drink it. Su Xing was stunned and nearly cried out. This dew and grass were unordinary, as expected. Just as Su Xing was about to ask, suddenly, the very rarely talkative solitary star Tang Lianxin let out a quaking voice from inside the star nest. Elder brother, this is Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew. 3. Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew. Su Xing was startled. Taoist Master Xian Tian turned his head back, looking at Su Xing with admiration. So it turns out you know the background of this water. Is it really Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew? Su Xing found himself slightly trembling. Indeed. Taoist Master Xian Tian spoke, Fire Eastern Island's current environment is filthy. That this sect has never left is because of this Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew. This sect surprisingly had such a thing. Su Xing sucked in a breath and gazed at this grass, full of trepidation. The Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew was a type of legendary water, collected using Qilin horn grass. It was nourished with the quintessence of sun and moonlight, strengthened with the qi of earthly fire and yin waters. Legend said that 1 droplet could be produced a year. However, what made the Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew all Yangshan continent was not only because it was difficult to find, but also because of its innate properties. 1 drop of the Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew's fragrance was said to be able to poison holy beasts like a Qilin to death. For Qilin, holy beasts that even those supervoid cultivators would fear, to be able to die so easily to this demonstrated its power. Thus, the Heavenly Dragon Sweet Dew had another name, Water of Qilin Destruction. The 4 styles school's location was extremely perfect. It possessed earthly fire, and because it was an island in the middle of the sea, with an adjacent mountain tomb, yin water would naturally form. The place Fire Eastern Island was located at was also where the sun and moon rose, practically the first ray of sun and moonlight would fall here. To be able to have water of Qilin destruction was not odd at all. Other than that the water of Qilin destruction was a powerful poison, there was another reason Su Xing remembered this so clearly. No mistake, the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements swords, draconic, of the sun, moon, star, draconic, required none other than this water to forge. Su Xing already had no hopes for the sun, moon, stars, dragon, but he could never have imagined that the Four Styles school would surprisingly have one of these. But thinking carefully, there was nothing strange about this. As the Azure Dragon Territory's famed tool refinement great sect, having this sort of ancient item was very normal. Although this water is valuable, it has nevertheless only drawn disaster to this sect. And this sect has no one that can refine this kind of immemorial poison water. Su Xing, you have the solitary star. Perhaps this is the destiny of this sect. This old man has pondered upon this. Rather than allow this water to remain in this sect, it would be better to confer it to you for the star duels. Treat it as recompense for the favor you have shown this sect. And it was because of Su Xing's selfless assistance to the Four Styles school that Taoist Master Xian Tian and Zhu Yueka discussed and agreed to give the water of Qilin destruction to Su Xing. Disciples shall not refuse. Su Xing did not want to put on a show of declining this. He indeed was in great need of this water of destruction to forge his weapons. However, to collect this water of destruction was quite tricky. Once this water left its perfect environment, it would automatically evaporate in 3 days, and Tang Lianxin was stuck in the star nest, requiring at least 14 days before she could emerge. Yueka has helped forge a Qilin gourd for you. It can temporarily preserve this water of Qilin destruction for about 10 days. You had better have Lianxin help you use this water to forge an unparalleled weapon with all haste. Taoist Master Xian Tian smiled and beckoned with his hand. A pot of fine jade fashioned in the appearance of a crouching Qilin suddenly appeared. As expected of a master tool refinement scholar, this Qilin pot that Zhu Yueka had forged was enough to incur the jealousy of every great sect. Su Xing took the Qilin pot and imbued it with his divine intent. The pot's spout opened like a Qilin's mouth. The heavenly dragon's sweet dew was immediately sucked into the pot. After he took some of the water of Qilin destruction, Su Xing was somewhat hesitant. Take it all, it will still automatically condense more in the future. Taoist Master Xian Tian smiled. Su Xing nodded. In an instant, all of the water of Qilin destruction had been sucked clean away. Disciple shall never forget the favor that headmaster and master has shown. Su Xing earnestly said. This old man has already said, there is no need for the niceties. Taoist Master Xian Tian shook his head. With the water of Qilin destruction, he should ponder upon the other materials to forge a sword, but as Taoist Master Xian Tian expected, this material was highly toxic. Su Xing forging it with his life-cast forging would be very dangerous, no different from dying. Now, only the solitary star, the star maiden of tool refinement, Tang Lianxin could produce a masterpiece of it. Elder sister, Lianxin will definitely emerge as soon as possible. Tang Lianxin bit her lip with a moved expression. 1. Teacher route, open. Right arrow curving left 2. Refer to chapter 136 right arrow curving left 3. Li Taisui stood on a mountain range that had been named Broken Ridge by the White Tiger Territory's demon Qin. Below his feet was a thick, impenetrable sea of trees. Countless bellows echoed in this endless forest. Hoots, hisses, roars, and howls were issued without end, making one's heart tremble in fear. Nevertheless, the old man turned a deaf ear to the noise, his hazy, aged eyes merely gazing into the horizon. Reflected in his eyes was the shadow of a mountain peak that stuck straight into the clouds. Even the enormous White Tiger Territory is unable to conceal the immense shadow of that maiden mountain. This old man truly is more and more eager to scale the mountain and investigate it. Li Taisui fanned himself and slowly spoke. The white-robed woman bracing him from the side had a pair of absolutely calm eyes and a refined temperament, as if the two words, outstanding hero, were custom fit for her. Her bangs were lifted by the wind, revealing a prominent blue birthmark. Blue-faced beast Yang Zijin listened to the old man speak, merely slightly raising her eyebrows as she glanced at the far-off, heaven-supporting pillar, Maiden Mountain. Taisui will definitely achieve it. Yang Zijin gently answered. But that purple thunder monster is a problem. Li Taisui smiled. Although they succeeded in releasing the Liao Emperor at the Crystal Dragon Palace's treasure banquet, this endeavor had cost the White Tiger 7 spirit stars 2 of their number. Not only this, they had originally wanted to rely on this adept who had once unified the White Tiger territory to become a weapon to set foot on Maiden Mountain, yet they never expected that she would be unable to even last to the end of the banquet. Compared to this, what Li Taisui was even more mindful of was the purple thunder monster who raised a reign of terror in the Azure Dragon territory. In terms of cultivation, Li Taisui was the absolute superior. What made him concerned was the Star General Strength Star Jade Qilin who appeared together with this purple thunder monster. The 1,000-year uncontracted Lin Chong and Wu Song followed him unswervingly. Now, even that head of martial force Strength Star to stand on his side, this gave Li Taisui no choice but to attach value to him. Yang Zijin calmly said, Taisui did not lose to him at all. This old man's power did not lose to him, but our formation is nevertheless a complete shambles compared to his, ha, ha. Li Taisui laughed. He did not conceal his failure at all. This old man was mistaken. This old man never thought that this person would indeed possess some skill. This old man ought to recruit him. Next time, this old man shall ask him if he is willing to unite with this old man to charge Maiden Mountain together. Taisui can try. N. Originally, because they had the moniker White Tiger 7 Spirit Stars, Li Taisui had treated the Star Masters outside of the White Tiger territory as obstacles, merely something to kick away. Now, Li Taisui felt that he needed to change his previously held notions. There were many formidable Star Masters outside of the White Tiger territory who were worth recruiting. Compared to this purple thunder monster, there was also that young woman who possessed the supreme ultimate diagram. Their quota for the 7 Stars Assembly was short by 2. They probably would not decline if he offered them. Although they had fought several bouts against one another, these star duels had only one goal. For one unanimous goal, it was very normal for enemies to become allies. Just as Li Taisui thought this, several lights flew over from the horizon. Taisui. The escape lights descended to reveal one ice-cold woman in clothes as white as snow. The girl's expression was extremely cold, as if they were made from 1,000-year black ice. Wherever she passed, a cold wind nipped, snow flew, and frost condensed. The originally high-spirited sounds in the background were frozen into silence. Han Bing, not bad. It appears your cultivation has had very significant progress. Li Taisui nodded in satisfaction. These past few days in seclusion were not wasted. Han Bing's cultivation had broken through to supervoid middle stage. Her stepping on thin ice ability had already reached a realm on unhindered transmission. It appeared that this feast at the Crystal Dragon Palace was not wasted. The girl was as expressionless as a glacier as she slightly nodded. This old man wants to allow the purple thunder monster to become one of the finalists in the 7 Stars Assembly. Han Bing, your thoughts? Li Taisui shook his fan, leisurely speaking. Him. Han Bing's brows tightly wrinkled. Taisui, at the end of the 7 Stars Assembly, there is only room for one overlord. If he ascends Maiden Mountain, then Taisui, she had traded blows with the purple thunder monster and was defeated. She knew that he was indeed very strong. It was not strange for Li Taisui to consider adding him into the 7 Stars Assembly. Han Bing's nature was already trained to an ice-cold, merciless state. She was not like the others who would brood over those enemies that defeated her, but Han Bing still wished to remind this old man whom she revered that to allow the purple thunder monster to become one of the 7 Stars Assembly finalists signified that someday, they would be facing a powerful enemy in possession of several top-notch martial generals. This simply was inviting a fox into the chicken coop, too unwise. Li Taisui chuckled to himself. Han Bing, this old man has pondered over your worries already. But the man who can be favored by Lin Chong and Wu Song will presumably not be so superficial. Is toppling these star duels together not even more interesting than the overlord position? Han Bing is willing to listen to Taisui's decision. Han Bing did not continue her opposition. To hear you say this old man is relieved. Li Taisui smiled. Whether Yi Futu or the Purple Thunder Monster, this old man, in the end, believes only in his own people. Han Bing nodded. After a while, Xian Lao and Sung Feng arrived in succession. Li Taisui similarly spoke with them about the Purple Thunder Monster. Xian Lao nodded, and Sung Feng thought the same as Han Bing. Both believed that having one star master who broke the equilibrium join the Seven Stars Assembly bode ill for their entire group. However, in the end, they left this to Li Taisui's personal decision. Right, Tai Gong, Yi Futu has gone to kill the clinging heaven Vermilion Jian. He has asked your servant to tell Tai Gong of this. Sung Feng said. He has gone to kill the Vermilion Jian. Li Taisui shook his head. The clinging heaven Vermilion Jian was a fire-type divine bird. Although this was extremely beneficial to Yi Futu who practiced the Vermilion Bird Blackening Flame and other fire element cultivation methods, the Klingon Heaven Vermilion Jian was not so easy to contend against. This Yi Futu would most likely suffer humiliating defeat. When all was said and done, humans were humans. They would always believe themselves superior to all other creatures. Sung Feng, you go as well. If needed, bring him back. Li Taisui said. As you command. There is another matter that requires you, Han Bing. Taisui, your orders, please. Daredevil third brother Shi Xiu has frolicked about the White Tiger territory long enough. It is time to make her swear allegiance to the White Tiger territory. Li Taisui slightly smiled. Han Bing understood Li Taisui wanted her to use the double stars button to contract with the Bright Star. The Daredevil third brother was able to survive the White Tiger territory that was full of danger at every corner up to this stage before the three heavenly books. One of the very big reasons for this was the Li Taisui deliberately allowed Shi Xiu to train her martial arts, saving time. However, Li Taisui was evidently aware of the phrase, nurturing a tiger invites calamity. The current Daredevil third brother's martial arts were superb, her realm exceptional. Han Bing and Ling Feishue completely had no way to defeat her. Xian Lao, you go help Han Bing. Li Taisui said to the woman. Zijin as well, you go help. Li Taisui turned his head to stare at Yang Zijin, his abstruse eyes full of a deeper meaning. This time, we must be determined to contract Shi Xiu. She is a capable martial general we need for our future aspirations. Zijin, do you understand? Zijin understands. Yang Zijin indifferently nodded her head. Only then did Li Taisui relax. Go with speed. There can be no mistakes whatsoever. And you, Taisui? Han Bing asked. The Liao Emperor is at Kaifeng, preparing the passageway array to Star World. This old man must go supervise. The White Tiger territory possessed Liangshan continent's most ancient, primordial forests. The green upon range after range of mountains made the forest's territory boundless, becoming an oppressor to the eyes. Unlike the other three territories, the White Tiger specially had an ancient aura that made people entering this territory feel they were in the midst of ancient, prehistoric, primal chaos. That kind of pressure squeezed in from all directions simultaneously, making people unable to draw breath. In the sky, there's several faintly visible giant birds circling the forest. At first glance, they looked like bats several hundred times their normal size. From time to time, the activity of giant beasts came from the forest, as if telling of the dangers in this place. The Su Xing who was on his first trip to the White Tiger territory was greatly stunned by the scene before his eyes. He had only entered the borders of the White Tiger territory when he spotted demon beasts this large. If he entered the center of the White Tiger territory, perhaps there would be some monstrous existence. Rumor has it that the Liao Emperor is at the White Tiger territory's old Liao kingdom, the capital of Kaifeng. If that's true, then she is truly defiant of the natural order. Su Xing stood on the star-riding boat, muttering to himself. The capital is even called the City of 10,000 Demons. Many cultivators want to see it. Shiyu had a longing expression. Ever since the Crystal Dragon Palace, after she learned the Liao Emperor was a woman, her position notwithstanding, Shiyu admired this type of powerful woman. To be able to conquer a place like the White Tiger territory, what level of courage was needed? I also want to witness that. Su Xing's eyes glinted, full of interest towards the Liangshan continent that never ceased to amaze him. However, the gravity here is many times stronger here than other places. Su Xing clenched his fist a few times. His body could clearly feel the weight. What is gravity? Hua Wanyue rolled her eyes at the never-before-heard-of term that burst out of this man. But this place honestly makes me feel displeased. The hero star sensed her body seemed to be bound, far from her previous ease. The daredevil third brother is fully deserving of the name, to surprisingly train her martial arts in this sort of place. Su Xing was incapable of imagining of how she managed to live. If that wisdom star Shi currently still had not star-fallen, her martial arts realm perhaps would be considerably formidable. Thinking about her, Su Xing could not help but recall that silent as a flower blue-faced beast Yang Zijin at Li Taisui's side. She also had superb martial force, one that did not lose out to top-notch martial generals. It seemed that they must be careful in this place. Just as Su Xing thought this, their first battle in the White Tiger territory nevertheless beckoned. Several of the faraway birds had caught onto their scent. They flapped their wings and shot over. Even though they were separated by several dozen li, he could hear the gust from their wings. These demon beasts known as demon bats were the equivalent of supervoid early stage according to the Azure Dragon territory's measures. However, because they were in the White Tiger territory, facing them was not as easy. Hua Wanyue brought out the Heaven Earth Sun Moon bow, about to teach these blind demon beasts a small lesson. The demon bat shifted. Its figure suddenly turned indistinct, disappearing all of a sudden. Wanyue, careful. Su Xing extended his arm. Bang! A bolt of purple mansion immortal thunder struck in midair, colliding with a black shadow. After a loud noise, several demon beasts surprisingly appeared before them instantly. These demon beasts had just thought of using their powers to capture these people when at this moment, there was a loud and clear phoenix cry from the heavens. Beautiful flames immediately flowed down. In the flames, an absolutely beautiful phoenix spread its wings, flapped them, and sent several giant fireballs smashing into the demon bats. The demon bats hissed. Every demon beast had its own instinct, and as if intimidated by the divine bird, they struggled and finally broke clean away using a strange escape technique. Su Xing instead calmly raised his head to look at this grand and noble phoenix. It was none other than the Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix. Little Huang stood on top of the Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix, gently floating down onto Su Xing's shoulder. Then came an absolutely sweet, "Your Highness. With the Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix, we can save on a lot of trouble. Little Huang, we'll have to count on you for this." Su Xing patted little Huang's shoulder. Gongsun Huang very earnestly nodded her head. Hua Wanyue had originally thought of releasing the heavenly hero Red Luan, but seeing the natural grandeur of that dragon in the cloud star beast Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix, she felt her own heavenly hero Red Luan was just like a servant girl. For an instant, she felt embarrassed to summon it. Previously, Hua Wanyue would not have these kinds of strange thoughts, but for some reason, she began to somewhat care. She especially did not want a comparison in front of Su Xing. "We have not come for a scenic tour. Milord, quickly find the location of this clinging heaven vermilion gem." Hua Wanyue restrained the odd feeling in her heart, turning her gaze away from the Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix. Su Xing's divine intent moved. A vermilion jade strip flew out and hovered in front of them. The jade strip released a red, flaming aura, like a swirling vortex. Rather than say this vermilion Jian map was an actual map, it was better to say this was a magic weapon. This map had been refined with the flame of the clinging heaven vermilion Jian's flame by the previous owner. Just by taking the vermilion Jian map out, it could sense the clinging fire of the clinging heaven vermilion Jian. So long as they followed its directions, they could find the clinging heaven vermilion Jian. N should be this direction. Su Xing followed the vermilion Jian map's indication towards the north of the White Tiger territory. The White Tiger's north. Shiyu looked. Was this place not in the furthest reaches of the White Tiger territory? This was very close to the White Tiger territory's legendary capital city, Kaifeng. Let's go. We can save a lot of time. Su Xing and Shiyu had the same idea. Without delay, the group rode in the Heavenly River Star riding boat, following the New Heavenly Phoenix as it opened a path towards the White Tiger territory's most northern place. Several hundred li away from Su Xing. 4 demon bears currently surrounded a woman in an open area. That woman's figure was slim. She was dressed in a disheveled, slovenly manner. Her clothes had many holes, and she was draped in the pelts and plumage of several kinds of demon beasts, mixed and matched somewhat eccentrically. Her hair was bundled in a ponytail. The woman rode an enormous white wolf with perfectly flawless fur. Her hand held a broadsword, and her eyes were full of provocation towards these demon beasts. The demon bears' bodies were like iron towers. Their fur was like iron, as if they were wearing armor. They bared savage fangs, and their sharp claws that could tear apart metal and stone as if they were paper demonstrated the demon beasts' fury. They were the rulers of the area, but they had been entangled for several days by the woman in front of them. This made them exceptionally enraged. The lead demon bear roared. The 4 demon beasts suddenly charged. The ground shook. Let alone that these demon bears were massively built, they were nevertheless abnormally quick. Their claws that were sharper than magic weapons tore at the girl. The air chilled, and killing intent unsheathed. It was like a net, leaving the woman nowhere to run. Berserk killing intent, excellent agility, invulnerable armor, and the woman's expression did not change, instead wearing an excited smile as she uttered these words of praise that should have described a martial general. She soared up riding the wolf. The net of air twisted towards the heavenly feather giant wolf, like a feather caught in a storm. And that star general-like battle talent, the woman said as she leapt off the heavenly feather giant wolf. Her body techniques were nimble, breaking through the gaps in the killing intent. That practically inescapable king of claws was surprisingly evaded by her odd movements. The demon bears snarled and pounced. At this moment, the woman showed a severe expression. She growled. The broadsword in her hand spun several times. Then, the woman descended. The moment she touched the ground, she did not stop in the slightest. Her entire person pounced forwards like a storm. That aggression did not lose out to a tiger's. The demon bears had never seen such a frightening human cultivator. For a moment, they thought they had encountered a demon beast in human form. The demon bears immediately smashed their paws against the ground, creating earth spikes that sprouted from the ground in succession, but the woman was like a butterfly flitting through flowers. Her stance gracefully evaded every earth spike. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Cold light leapt forth. Immediately, their fury was extinguished. The 4 demon bears fell to the ground with a thud. They were unexpectedly dispatched in an instant. Upon closer inspection, the fatal wounds inflicted upon these demon beasts were all slashes aimed at the weakest part on their chins. The precision was chilling. Please become a part of your servant martial arts. The woman sheathed her sword in satisfaction, her ponytail bouncing. Without a doubt. Such an abnormal, all-out, battle stance that could frighten even demon beasts. Only Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother Shi Xiu could possess this. Little Feather, are you all right? Shi Xiu asked her star beast. The heavenly feather giant wolf was covered in wounds from the demon beast's attacks. None of them were fatal. It was already accustomed to wounds like this in the White Tiger territory. The heavenly feather giant wolf cuddled with its mistress in a very human manner. There is not much time left to spend in the white tiger territory. Xiao raised her head to look at the sky. Howl. The heavenly feather giant wolf suddenly let out a low growl, baring its fangs as it howled at some trees. Xiao's back was towards the forest, but she did not even need to look behind her. Who else wants to become a part of your servant's martial arts? Truly worthy of the daredevil third brother, to surprisingly be able to slay these demon beasts so easily. The winds suddenly gusted, and the surrounding temperatures fell to 0. The woman who walked out seemed like an ice sculpture. She was ice cold from head to toe. The moment she appeared, the entire surrounding seemed to have entered winter. Elder sister, you are truly too formidable. Fei Xue is too impressed. The young girl beside this ice-cold woman on the contrary exhibited a spring-like warm smile. This was already not the first time they had crossed paths. Heaven-shaking thunderling Fei Xue and her star master Han Bing. You wish to defeat your servant to sign a contract, is it? Xiao sighed, her misty breath like an arrow, reaching out several meters. Can't elder sister Xiao and little sister be together? Let us ascend Maiden Mountain together and end the star duels. Fei Xue pleads with elder sister. Fei Xue truly likes elder sister very much. Fei Xue showed pouting, pitiful eyes, itching to throw herself into Xiao's arms. Your servant is very impressed with your decision to end the star duels, regardless of whether that is true or not. Xiao indifferently raised her blade which had 2 swirling stars. Daredevil third brother shook her head, but your servant has not interest at all in a contract. Elder sister Xiao, Fei Xue really likes you a lot. Elder sister, are you saying your daredevil training in martial arts isn't for the sake of ending the star duels? If that isn't the case, then what's the point? Fei Xue said bitterly. Doesn't elder sister want to wield her martial arts in someplace useful? Your servant truly has no interest in the star duels. Xiao shut one eye, showing a begrudging expression. Battle is your servant's sole belief. In other words, we must defeat you to contract you. Han Bing finally spoke, her voice chilling to the bone, freezing the air. Even if you defeat your servant does not wish to sign a contract. Yuxi shrugged. Since this is the case, you will be beyond help when the time comes. Han Bing coldly said. The black frost flying swords emitted cold air as they twisted straight towards Xiao. Elder sister really is stubborn, however, little sister will properly straighten elder sister out in the future. Fei Xue also abandoned persuasion. Her triple cannons suddenly appeared behind her, the muzzles rotating. Boom! Thunder clapped furiously, and fire dragons soared. The moment they entered battle, Xiao's expression already became even more chilling than at any other time. The heavenly feather giant wolf rushed over as well. Fei Xue's cannons and Han Bing's flying swords were surprisingly unable to match Daredevil third brother's pace. What a formidable realm! Han Bing shuddered, and she withdrew. A ray of saber light directly flit by. In the blink of an eye, it had separated Han Bing and Fei Xue. Xiao slightly smiled as she drew her sword, slashing at Han Bing. A rampart of ice suddenly appeared. Fortunately, Xiao's star weapon was still relatively weak. Barely blocking this attack, Han Bing's hand pointed. The flying swords quickly attacked. Just as Xiao was about to surprise attack, she suddenly sensed danger and dodged backwards. A shining bracelet manifested a scene of all things as it attacked. Xiao had no way to block this attack and could only evade. Oh! It appears you are not alone. Xiao gazed indifferently at another cold and detached woman. 1. Apparently, is also a word for elf. The more, the better. Your servant can only go all out like this. Xiao provoked. The goose feather heavenly wolf growled nearby, assuming an attack stance. Han Bing glanced at Xian Lao, hinting to her. Neither of them were the sort to be sloppy. They would fight daredevil third brother Sheathed with full power. Xian Lao expressionlessly activated the All Things bracelet. The All Things bracelet released hundreds of rays of light to first trap Sheathed. Han Bing controlled her sword chant. The 33 dark sky star frost swords shot towards Sheathed, forming an encirclement. Han Bing's swords crisscrossed and reflected one another. The goose feather heavenly wolf charged towards the swords. Sheathed did not dare be careless either, unleashing her dark rank wolf howl 10,000 Li. Elder sister Sheathed, please accept Feishua's respect. Ling Feishua's silent destruction star meteor cannon thundered. The muzzle spat rays of firelight. Flashing brilliance heaven-shaking thunder. Thunderclap fire rain. She unleashed her two techniques without any restraint. The interweaving cannon fire was like a majestic downpour as it exploded in a 50-meter radius around Sheathed. The space that had been frozen by Han Bing melted under this rumbling cannon fire. But Ling Feishua's attack was not finished yet. Fully aware of Wisdom Star Daredevil third brother's personality, the girl was determined to put forth her most overwhelming attack for this carefree elder sister. The silent destruction star meteor cannons flashed with 3 intense lights. This was Earth Rank Technique. Heaven-shaking earth-splitting gathering triple cannon. The earth rumbled, and the sky shuddered. The Xian Lao caught in the middle of the barrage had no choice but to use the All Things bracelet for protection. Even so, her body was still jostled about uncomfortably. Han Bing's divine intent moved. The flying swords assumed a circular formation around Sheathed and released light, twisting towards her as the cannon fire detonated. An encirclement by Xian Lao's All Things bracelet, the Star Frost flying sword suppression, and Lin Feishua's earth, dark, and yellow techniques, any other star general would hardly escape unscathed. Even the daredevil third brother could not possibly be an exception. Finally, the flying swords attacked. Han Bing was confident that Sheathed could not last too long. Clang, clang, clang. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of weapons clashing echoed in the dust. Han Bing was stunned. Bang. The dust was blown away. Sheathed's slender figure appeared like a swan. She unexpectedly still had so much vitality. Han Bing showed slight astonishment, but gazing at Sheathed's unyielding figure, she held even more pity and admiration. Just when Sheathed leapt high up, a silhouette from outside the forest had already been waiting for this, like a concealed beast opening its jaws to snatch prey at the most critical moment. A white robe fluttered, and black hair cascaded, revealing the firm, beast-like eyes under her bangs. Even Sheathed was shaken. Zijin. This is over. Yang Zijin's hand gripped her extreme vast blue emperor saber, speaking expressionlessly. 5-star, sparks scattering. Her hand rose, and the blade descended. The blue arc was too fast for the naked eye to react to. She cut down from the woman's shoulder down to her waist, leaving a shocking blade wound. Yellow technique. Tooth extraction. Sheathed screamed. A bloody mist erupted from her body, and she was cut down to the ground by this slash. Even Ling Feishue felt wretched seeing this. The tip of her foot gently touched the ground. Yang Zijin closed her eyes, still maintaining her indifferent attitude as she held her blade. After her breathing calmed, Yang Zijin opened her eyes. Sheathed groaned. She was practically propped up by the goose feather heavenly wolf's enormous body. Right now, Daredevil third brother appeared quite appalling. Just the most ordinary attack of a 5-star weapon was so incomparably terrifying. Yang Zijin's dreadful, tooth extraction, had nearly severed Sheathed's last shred of consciousness. Blood covered Daredevil third brother, making the girl's body tremble. Bang! The 7 colors goose feather saber was stuck into the ground, supporting Sheathed so that she would not fall over. Zijin, Sheathed smiled even more carefreely. Change these star duels together with Zijin, Sheathed, her beast-like eyes slowly recovered their warmth, concealing a grief no one noticed. Your servant, refusing a contract is beyond your power. Han Bing's expression moved. A blue light flew out from her astral stone. In this light was a shackle, but both ends were brilliant stars. This was the Twin Stars Buckle, true name Peng Fei. Among the Maiden Mountain Sisters, she possessed an innate skill that was like her nickname, Heavenly Eye. This Heavenly Eye could sense the star energy of star crests within a certain range. From this, she could find the location of star generals. Legend said that coordinating with the orbit of the crimson stars could even allow her to find any star general she wanted. However, using this kind of innate skill was considerably draining on her star energy. The general of heavenly vision Peng Fei opened the third eye, and it stared. Han Bing knew this was the general of heavenly vision currently using her yellow rank technique. Search for obscured star. This technique combined with her innate skill could find a star general even more quickly. As expected, a moment later. General of heavenly vision Peng Fei already aimed at a direction and stopped. Zijin, I shall leave the wisdom star to you. Han Bing said. You want a star duel? Yang Zijin guessed Han Bing's thoughts. Han Bing calmly said, the purple thunder monster is separated. Now is precisely the best time to fight those girls. Xi and Lao and I can still handle them, but we will have to trouble you to bring Daredevil third brother back. Han Bing, you truly are thorough. Ling Feishue was greatly delighted. Firstly, they did not need to waste time searching for Shi. Secondly, they could also inflict heavy losses to the Purple Thunder monster's allies. This truly was two birds with one stone. Previously, Han Bing's retreat was clearly a stall to allow Peng Fei to search for Shi. Yang Zijin pondered. Without any reason to refute, she nodded and said nothing more. Her figure moved and rushed in Shi's direction. Now, we shall see who is stronger, me or that monster's wives. Han Bing coldly declared. Liked it? Emergence from the warp array was instantaneous. The heavily injured Daredevil third brother Shi did not forget about Su Xing. With her hand gripping the seven colors goose feather saber, her last shred of weak killing intent gathered into a line of the saber's tip, earth, Shi panted, preparing her earth rank saber technique. No earth. Su Xing could not watch any longer. He used light smoke dance steps to directly circle around Shi. Even if Daredevil third brother had a high realm, she currently was unable to react. Su Xing's palm chop descended, knocking Shi unconscious without any reservations. In that split second when her consciousness faded away, Shi's mind flashed one final phrase. My star duels are finally over. Elder sister Shi is still as hardworking as ever. Shi Yuan sighed from inside the star nest. Big brother, you are injured. And Suwen said with concern. For the sake of helping Shi withstand Yang Zijin's saber chi, Su Xing's waist had been cut by Shi's attack. The wound was not deep. To the Su Xing who was already used to this injury was nothing of import, however, it still made Su Xing experience the vigor of this woman. To be so fierce even with such heavy injuries, in peak condition, perhaps no one would be able to subdue this true wild beast. Su Xing, maybe you should contract with elder sister Shi right now. Shi Yuan incited him. She also felt that the Daredevil third brother in front of them was too arrogant. She was somewhat worried about Su Xing's ability to contract with Shi. Now that Shi had bore heavy injuries, she had no way to resist signing a contract. Su Xing indeed had thought of this, but this betrayed his goal. If she is willing, then she is willing. If she isn't willing, then forget it. Let's avoid forcing a contract. He understood nothing about Shi, and he had no deep feelings for her to speak of. He naturally did not want to take advantage of someone's troubles. However, Shi was on death's door at the moment. He could not possibly ignore her. Su Xing walked near and flipped over the collapsed Shi Xiuxiu. His eyes froze. Shi Xiuxiu and Han Bing's battle appeared very intense. The clothes on her body were not intact, with only scraps covering her body here and there, especially the white tube top she used to bind her chest. The white cloth had been mostly ripped apart, and the erotic sight of her immense breasts was half revealed. Her delicate, snow-white skin had been cut all over, and her blood flowed non-stop. This really was half alluring, half shocking. Elder sister's tits are so big, Su Xing, feel them up and see if they're real or not. Shi Yuan was flabbergasted. Yuaner, and Suan gasped. Su Xing took out a pill from his astral bag. He opened Shi Xiuxiu's lips and placed it inside her mouth. Shi Xiuxiu groaned a few times, her consciousness still fuzzy. A star maiden's physical constitution was very special. Most of Liangshan continent's medicines would have no effect. If he wanted to allow Shi Xiuxiu to quickly recover, he could only rely on efficacious star divine physician and Suan. However, starry maidens possessed automatic recovery abilities, albeit slowly. But Shi Xiuxiu had fallen into unconsciousness and perhaps did not have much time. Shi Xiuxiu's body was drenched in blood. Su Xing wondered to himself whether he should help wash her as he looked at those massive breasts. Thinking quickly, Daredevil third brother was that kind of proud and uninhibited woman. It was very normal for her to destroy things indiscriminately. Su Xing decided to forget about it. Wu Xinjie wanted him and Shi Xiuxiu to have a good relationship, but it was very evident this kind of strip someone else naked and bathe them conduct was absolutely unrelated to fostering a good relationship. Despite thinking, when he saw Shi Xiuxiu's blood-stained body, Su Xing still found a creek and used a towel to wipe away the blood covering her, not undoing the binding over her breasts. Although he unavoidably touched Shi Xiuxiu's sensitive spots, Su Xing still avoided that as much as he could. Her injuries were quite severe. Su Xing's technique was very cautious, very gentle. Shi Yuan watched very enviously, screaming to be allowed back out and have Su Xing do it to her. After this series of tasks was done, the time of day had become late. Su Xing then opened the birth treasure outline and unceremoniously looked at Shi Xiuxiu's materials. Star position, Wisdom star name, Shi Xiu nickname, Daredevil third brother true name, Shi Xiuxiu rank, 33rd star weapon, 7 colors goose feather saber, 2 star, star beast, goose feather heavenly wolf realm, extreme realm 8 stage innate skill, all out 5 elements, fire yellow rank special move, heavenly wolf moon howl dark rank special move, wolf howls 10,000ly earth rank special move, heaven and earth extermination current status, weak, can be conquered, detailed. Materials. What a high realm. Su Xing took a deep breath. He realized this Daredevil third brother had relentlessly trained in her martial arts for her realm to be this out of the ordinary. Looking at the birth treasure outline from beginning to end, Su Xing was astonished. Extreme Realm 8th stage. Her distance from True Phoenix Realm was only 1 step. Realms dominated a star general's martial arts. This type of realm perhaps could not be dominated by a top-notch martial general. But it was a pity that Shi Xiuxiu's star weapon 7 colors goose feather saber was only 2 star. Star weapon level was connected to the power of a star general's heaven, earth, dark, and yellow techniques and could also similarly increase a star general's realm. If she was like Lin Yingmei, at 5 star, entry into True Phoenix realm was not impossible. A True Phoenix realm martial general before the heavenly books. Su Xing was very interested. In the past, even after the 3 heavenly books passed, a martial general able to reach true dragon realm was as rare as a phoenix feather. Those as abnormal as Shi Xiuxiu were indeed rare. It was no wonder she could escape under Han Bing's assault. Su Xing, you really won't loot a burning house? Shi Yuan dry swallowed. As far as the thief star was concerned, looting a burning house was a commendation. She would not mind in the least if Su Xing did this. We're immediately going back. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Shi Yu and the others still remained at the other end of the warp array facing two powerful White Tiger Territory Star Masters. He knew of Han Bing and Xian Lao's might. He was worried to death in his heart. After he helped heal Shi Xiu, he was not in the mood for anything else. He wanted to quickly hurry back. However, this warp array was no longer usable. Su Xing used his star crest to sense their location, and then he carried Shi Xiu. Shi Xiu groaned a few times, subconsciously struggling briefly. Su Xing had no way to put her down in this place. He soared up and used an escape technique, hugging Shi Xiu all the way. At this time, just as Su Xing anticipated, Han Bing and Xian Lao launched an attack on Shi Yu and Hua Wanyue. More than a dozen demon beasts used each of their abilities, however, they were all suppressed by the Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix. Hundreds of flying swords flew about in the sky. On one side was Han Bing's Icy Sky Snow Frost, and the other was Shi Yu's Water Moon Paradise. Both sides were very contrasting, beautiful beyond imagination. Hua Wanyue at this moment had also summoned the heavenly hero Red Luan. Two great bird-type star beasts faced the incoming demon beasts with more than sufficient leeway, and the hero's star pulled back on her bow, letting loose several arrows that battled against Ling Feishue's cannon fire. Ling Feishue's flashing brilliance heaven-shaking thunder appeared ferocious, but it could not compare to the hero's star's astonishingly ruthless archery. Han Bing wanted to settle the battle quickly. Her sleeve waved, and the evil cleanup knife flew out from her sleeve. Its cold light glinted, and it directly attacked Shi Yu. Shi Yu was unperturbed. She similarly raised the dual mode's ruler's shadows. Green light flashed, clashing with the evil cleanup knife. Han Bing's cultivation was higher than Shi Yu's, but Shi Yu's dual mode's ruler was several magnitudes stronger than the evil cleanup knife. Both sides were about even. Let me see how you will stop my ice heart appreciation. Han Bing sneered. As she said this, she waved her sleeves. Suddenly, a cold wind blew. The frosty clouds in the sky above rolled, and a bluish light appeared on Han Bing's chest. Like frost and snow, it was desolately ice-cold. It rolled ice clouds in her surroundings, blew a north wind over 1,000 li, and was just like trillions of knives carving at her. Soon after that cold light on Han Bing's chest split into the powers of the dual modes, the frost and clouds changed, turning into the two colors of black and light, rolling around each other yet remaining distinct. From time to time, they appeared like a tiger and dragon clashing, blending like water and fire, profound, marvelous beyond compare. Ice Heart Appreciation was Han Bing's strongest ability. It was formed using her actual body as an ice woman, and it could form a territory. It could freeze the world. The reason why Han Bing squandered so much magic energy to use this technique was because she wanted to cleanly and decisively end the battle so as to avoid producing side issues. Roar, roar. Those summoned demon beasts roared. They had been blown around by the snowstorm and began to flee. Hua Wanyue's heavenly hero Red Luan persisted for a few moments more before becoming an ice sculpture. Careful. Hua Wanyue drew in a breath and promptly circulated her star energy for protection. The Di-Nu Heavenly Phoenix frantically flapped its wings, using its flaming body to dissipate the ice, but the endless wind from Han Bing's chest cavity flowed out. Like a thunderstorm, it barreled towards them, endless, inexhaustible, and without end. It was simply unstoppable. Shi Yu's expression changed. Her 100 flying swords were unexpectedly frozen over, clattering to the ground. Look out! Zhang Feiyu bellowed. The flaming fish king saber suddenly slashed, and she used the dark rank fire tree silver flower, but the dark rank technique was also powerless. Under Ice Heart Appreciation, before the throbbing flames could be rampant, they were blown out. The dual mode's ruler's shadows elongated to protect Shi Yu, endlessly warding off the incoming blizzard. At this moment, Han Bing's person was like an ice sculpture. The hole in her chest radiated light everywhere, becoming increasingly blinding. Gongsun Huang used the dark rank half-destroyed landscape to no avail. Under Han Bing's Ice Heart Appreciation, the ground was frozen solid. 10,000 God-killing arrow. Hua Wanyu leapt into the air, jumping high with bow drawn as she released her arrow. The power and killing intent of 1,000 cavalry concentrated into the arrow broke apart the ferocious storm. It shot towards the hole in Han Bing's chest, but the 10,000 God-killing arrow was similarly frozen when it drew near. How formidable! Hua Wanyu was flabbergasted. Just what true body was this demon Qin, to have power so strong? Let Han Bing use Ice Heart appreciation, you can rest in peace. In response, Ling Feishue guarded at Han Bing's side. The cannon muzzles aimed at Zhang Feiyu, not hesitating to use thunderclap fire rain. The cannons roared. Countless fireworks bloomed in the sky, becoming meteors, falling like a torrential downpour towards Shiyu. The endless cannon fire boomed against the dual mode's ruler, and Shiyu's resistance became even more hard-pressed. Can you block an earth rank? When Hua Wanyu saw this, she instantly fired her earth rank at Shiyu. Sun-piercing heavenly rainbow. An arrow of multicolored light shot towards Shiyu. The sun-piercing heavenly rainbow's light was only average in destructive power, but the rainbow light could disperse any offensive ability, putting the target in an unrivaled state. As expected, Han Bing's high-power ability was unable to disperse Hua Wanyue's earth rank archery. The sun-piercing heavenly rainbow's light immediately blew away the ice-cold air. As long as the arrow could hit Shiyu and Zhang Feiyu's earth rank could instantly reverse the situation. Hua Wanyue's calculations were very precise, but there was someone else present who had become a variable. Just as the arrow was about to strike home, a resplendent light suddenly intercepted it. A glowing bracelet encompassing all things unexpectedly absorbed the sun-piercing heavenly rainbow. Hua Wanyu gnashed her teeth and turned her head. The woman who had been like a stone statue of the Buddha in meditation had finally taken action. Liked it? The Earth Spirit woman of the White Tiger Seven Spirits honestly was very taciturn. Up until now, she had been one with the earth, her sense of existence imperceptible. But the moment she acted, she was heaven-shaking. The All Things bracelet was worthy of being called a top-notch spirit treasure. Its light was brilliant and clear, like a full moon. The rainbow light of sun-piercing heavenly rainbow was completely sucked away by the All Things bracelet's shadow. But the Star General's Earth Rank technique was nothing to scoff at, especially when this was the Earth Rank archery of the first-rate heavenly star Little Li Guang. When sun-piercing heavenly rainbow landed upon the All Things bracelet, there was a clear bang. The rainbow light was absorbed by the All Things bracelet. Similarly, the nigh invincible All Things bracelet was repelled by the arrow. In midair, it shook, its spirit light destroyed, losing its vitality. Xian Lao's hand gestured to retrieve the All Things bracelet. She was as aloof as before. Xian Lao, settle things as quickly as possible. Han Bing's chilly tone pierced through this snowstorm world. Not good. Hua Wanyu was astonished. Xian Lao grunted and beckoned. With a sudden bang, the sky and earth immediately toppled. The ground sunk down into a bottomless pit. Inside the pit, the crumbling sounds were like something boiling. Instantly, endless flames mixed with astral wind, turbulent mud, and yellow dust. It rushed forth like a raging wave, its power honestly dreadful. Shiyu's expression became even more grave. Let us see how you will manage this. Han Bing said in a low voice, a cold tone. The air flowing across her cheek brought a feeling of comfort. The gentle wind brushing her ear made her feel free, and all worldly restraints and thoughts of the star duels already vanished. Shi Xiuxiu thought in her bleary consciousness. Is this the feeling after a starfall? Shi Xiuxiu struggled to open her eyes. She finally caught sight of a speck of starlight. It seemed that Maiden Mountain after starfall and the White Tiger territory were the same. The air was very heavy, her body was being propped up and was flying. This kind of feeling was very unfettered. As the daredevil Thid brother who had pledged her entire life to be a fight to the death, she never knew that ceasing battle would turn out to be so comfortable. Shi Xiuxiu gently moved her body, wanting to change to an even more comfortable position. Suddenly, her butt collided with something wide. That object had 5 outspread fingers, and her butt was perfectly squeezed upon them. A sort of electric current made Shi Xiuxiu's half-hazy consciousness immediately sober up. She saw a wide and warm chest, and a pair of comforting arms. Shi Xiuxiu's eyes immediately turned like a wild beast's. You woke up really quickly. Su Xing lowered his head, staring into Shi Xiuxiu's cold eyes. Suwen says your injuries will need at least 7 days to fully recover from, that you would need 2 or 3 days to wake up. Seeing Shi Xiuxiu's hostile expression, Su Xing teased, it really isn't good for you to have such a foul expression towards your life savior. Life savior? Shi Xiuxiu felt the noun this man uttered was truly ambiguous. You saved your servant. Shi Xiuxiu blinked her eyes. Then she realized that she had not been contracted, finally showing an astonished expression. You believe me now? Su Xing smiled. Shi Xiuxiu's eyes were full of disdain. Her heart recognized that Su Xing possessed a star general and was thus unable to form any further contracts. Liangshan continent was full of star masters like this. Quickly put down your servant. Shi Xiuxiu struggled a few times, again triggering pain over her whole body. Daredevil third brother's brow wrinkled. Don't struggle. Su Xing's tone rebuked her with a stern tone. Suwen said your injuries are very severe. You need to rest. Shi Xiuxiu completely disregarded Su Xing. If it was not for her body being obstructed and truly unable to budge, she would have already brought out the 7 colors goose feather saber and hacked this man hugging her to pieces. Su Xing hugged her even more tightly, and only then did Shi Xiuxiu finally stop struggling. She had never been so ashamed in her life. The grand daredevil third brother was surprisingly hiding in a man's embrace, and there was even the illusion of safety. God damn it! What conspiracy are you plotting against your servant? Shi Xiuxiu took a deep breath to maintain her composure. Since Su Xing was a star master, then she could be said to be a fish on the chopping board, at his mercy. This man not taking his opportunity to kill her signified he had some other objective. I'm called Su Xing Xiuxiu. Su Xing introduced himself. Humph. Do you feel that since I'm a star master, you're currently fish meat on a chopping board at my mercy? Do you think I'll take advantage of you? Su Xing guessed through her thinking. Shi Xiuxiu had an expression that said, is that not so? Not every star master wants to take advantage of another person's misfortune. If you really hate me, then I will star duel you, but, not now. I listened to my wife to specifically come here to see you. Otherwise, why else do you think I would carry a tigress like you around? You definitely think I am disrespecting you, and you want nothing more than to kill me right now. Su Xing shook his head, an expression of disappointment. Your servant has never met your wife. Shi Xiuxiu coldly said. The only person she recognized was blue-faced beast Yang Zijin. Of course, she would not recognize Su Xing's wife. She was a star general, and how could she be someone else's wife? Furthermore, Yang Zijin's contractor was a stinking old man. Just as Su Xing was about to reply, he suddenly sensed something, and his heart sunk. In a flash, he hid behind a large tree, activating a concealment technique. Don't say a word. Su Xing sternly warned. He had just hid their whereabouts when a woman dressed in a white robe appeared in the sky above where Su Xing stopped. That woman's bangs were neatly arranged, matching her attire and tranquil bearing. She was none other than Yang Zijin. Yang Zijin wrinkled her brow, scanning the surroundings. She had clearly sensed there was a slightly weak presence just now. How did it just suddenly vanish? After Su Xing hid behind the tree, he retracted his presence to its lowest. He stared silently at Yang Zijin, and Sure Exuxiu also shot a glance at blue-faced beast, considerably astonished at Su Xing's ability to sense her appearance. Blue-faced beast was considered one of the top-notch martial generals in the 9th generation. Su Xing had no interest in experiencing her martial arts. Now that Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao were no longer at his side, it was obvious what a unilateral front against Yang Zijin would result in. Although Su Xing had the battle doctrine innate skill that could match against a star general, he had no way to contend against the most first-rate martial general in a head-on battle. The maturation of these peak star generals' martial arts had become something very difficult for Su Xing. To be capable of forcing the daredevil third brother star general who was at Extreme Realm 8 stage to flee in defeat, Su Xing was very clear about Yang Zijin's power. A while later, other than Yang Zijin, Su Xing did not see Han Bing, Xin Lao, or the others. This signified that they stayed behind to deal with Shiyu, as he had expected. However, Yang Zijin moved on, which offered him a bit of relief. With little Huang and Hua Wanhua present, she should have no problems. While Su Xing pondered, Shi Xiuxiu's breathing was quickening. The two were hidden behind a narrow tree. So as to avoid being discovered by Yang Zijin, the space was small and their bodies were stuck close together. Shi Xiuxiu could feel her breasts that were bound by the white gauze being mercilessly squeezed by the man's arms. Even the Shi Xiuxiu who was fierce in martial arts finally showed a star maiden's bashfulness. If it was not for seeing Su Xing's eyes glued completely onto Yang Zijin, Shi Xiuxiu would have had the impulse to immediately kill him. Shi Xiuxiu considered shouting out to alarm Yang Zijin. She had a favorable impression of blue-faced beast Yang Zijin and also knew that while this sister appeared cold and expressionless, she was rather kind on the inside. She had been saved by her several times in the White Tiger territory. However, turning back to see Su Xing's serious expression, Shi Xiuxiu dismissed the thought. Yang Zijin looked around. Seeing there were no presences and thinking herself mistaken, she continued on. This time, Su Xing did not fly. Instead, he stuck to the ground and used an escape technique, evading as much as possible. Halfway through, Su Xing suddenly stopped. Far away, on an enormous cliff, a white-robed woman just happened to be bathing quietly in the moonlight, her hand gripping the hilt of her saber. Her presence was tranquil, waiting for him. Fuck. Su Xing gloomily looked at Yang Zijin. This beast's sense of smell really was not so easy to fool. My dear, would you be so kind as to let us pass? Shi Xiuxiu was speechless. She felt that this man was honestly frivolous. Was he actually unaware of how frightening the woman before them was? To surprisingly be able to utter the words, my dear. She did not realize, however, that Su Xing did so merely to calm the situation down. Yang Zijin's placid aura was honestly full of unfathomable danger. To be able to infuriate her contrarily had an advantage. Fury could make a person lose their judgment. If he could anger Yang Zijin, he instead could have a chance at winning. Let Su Xing pass. Yang Zijin slightly nodded. It was not clear if she approved of Su Xing's teasing or if she responded merely out of courtesy. Regardless, the more calm she was, the less of a plan Su Xing had. Damn it, I only came to the White Tiger territory to investigate the clinging Heaven Jian feather, yet I've surprisingly bumped into one of the most powerful martial generals in the star duels. This is not fun at all. Purple Thunder Monster. Zijin wishes to ask you a question, Yang Zijin's voice very gently spoke. Facing blue-faced beast, Su Xing had originally thought she would firmly take action without wasting her breath. Her sudden question made Su Xing feel hopeful. What question? What is your final wish for the star duels? Yang Zijin asked. Would you believe me if I said I wanted to end the star duels? Su Xing shrugged. Are you serious? Yang Zijin's reaction was very calm, which dealt Su Xing a very serious blow. He was completely at a loss as to what this woman was thinking of. I am not the same as your star master. Whatever wish he has, I have no interest. I only want to help my wives end this senseless struggle. Su Xing twitched his mouth. Yang Ziijin seemed to smile. Taisui is the same as you. Both of you wish to end the star duels. Is that true, or an excuse to trick you into a contract? Su Xing asked back. Yang Zijin was silent. Clearly, before ascending the summit, no one had any way to guarantee this reply. And what if you use this excuse? Perhaps it is because of this precise excuse that Lin Chong, Wu Song, and the others would follow you. Yang Zijin toyed with the bangs in front of her forehead, playing down their dialogue. Bitch, you're an excuse, to surprisingly dare insult Su Xing. Shi Yuan was extremely angry. Su Xing dismissed that with laughter. If you become my wife, I'll convince you. Silence. Zijin believes you, you're willing to become my wife. Su Xing was stunned. Yang Ziijin elegantly ignored Su Xing's words. Taisui wants you to join us. In the later 7 Stars Assembly, we shall scale Maiden Mountain together and end the star duels. Are you willing? Yang Ziijin extended her flawless, white as jade hand, beckoning with a warmth and benevolence not yet seen from blue-faced beast. Su Xing could clearly see. If he refused this hand, then the other would immediately draw her saber. Liked it? You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.